Have you ever wondered how you can get a man completely obsessed with you without ever even sleeping with him? Isn't it frustrating to feel like it's impossible to keep a man truly interested in you unless you first have sex with him? Well, what if I told you it's possible to channel your sexual, seductive goddess energy into creating obsession in him without ever even having sex with him? If you want to learn how that works, then join me on today's show where we'll be discussing how to use sex to make men fall in love with you. That way you understand how to utilize this sexual energy that you already possess to have him wrapped around your finger without ever even giving him anything. Narratives, point number one is about narrative. Narratives are very important in your relationship, okay? And they start from the very beginning. Because as you're building a narrative in your relationship, that will be the idea and the concept that you fall back on time and time again as a foundational element of what you two are trying to do here. How does this play a role in how you're going to use sex to make a man fall in love? See, a man always has a natural desire for sex, to orgasm, to procreate. That's great. That's awesome. We want to use that to get him to a special destination that is even more amazing than just orgasm. Now, when it comes to narratives, see, what we don't want is we don't want a narrative building from the very beginning that you are here, right? And he is here. What do I mean by you're here and he is here? We don't want this narrative of sex in your relationship and the possibility of sex in your relationship to be, I want things done this way and you want things done a different way. And me and you are on two totally different paths here. Because what's going to happen is this is going to make it feel like the two of you are in opposition. Okay? What do I mean by in opposition? That you guys aren't sharing in your path towards success. That in order for him to be happy, he has to take a totally different path than you do in order for you to be happy. So how does this really relate to making men fall in love through sex? See, what we're doing here from the beginning is we're creating a narrative where in order to get to this destination here, which is a relationship, right? In order to get to this destination here, both of you, right? So you're here, you start off over here, and the man starts off over here, but both of you are leading and joining together to get to this destination together. And this narrative is really important because you want to make sure that as time is going on, you're going to anticipate some of the frustrations he's going to have. You're going to anticipate some of the ways he's going to respond to you in this situation based on what you're trying to do. And you're going to be building this narrative so that this becomes a foundational element of your relationship that you're going to work to for your benefit. How are you going to work with this narrative for your benefit? See, what you're going to do here is you're not going to make a man feel like, hey, sex is never on the table for you. I would never even dream of giving you sex in a million years. Why? Because it's going to put you in opposition. Obviously, the men that you're meeting who are attracted to you have a desire for sex. That's not a crime. What we want to make sure that we do is we want to channel that energy in the right place so that he's focused rather than just on having sex with you quickly, getting to that destination by working for you and both of you working together to both receive what you want, that you'll have a happy relationship that is filled with amazing sex, but also amazing connection and also an amazing bond. Okay? Setting this stage for this narrative at the beginning is very important because what we don't want, and I'll warn you of this and even in our future points, what we don't want is for him to feel like, oh, you're playing a game with him in a sense. We don't want him to feel like you're purposely trying to frustrate him or you're purposely trying to hold out on him because it's not going to create the desired effect. We want him to desire you. We want him to want this. We want him to pursue you. And in order for us to do that properly, in order for us to do that properly, we want to make sure that he's always aware, I want you too. I'm feeling this energy too. I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm all lubed up. Oh my gosh, I'm all wet. I want what you have to offer. And the only reason we haven't gotten to that point is because I want to make sure that we want to make sure that the both of us have the strongest possible relationship that we can have before we get into the stage of sleeping with each other. Okay? So, this is a very interesting show today. And the reason it's interesting is because we're using sex to motivate him, but we're not actually giving it to him, okay? So I'll explain more as we go along. Hopefully that makes sense to all of you so far, okay? Now, let's hop into our, that don't be erasing how I like things to erase. Let me go grab my little paper towel here, because the way that erasing don't make me happy. I don't want to have a dirty board. All right, I'm already a dirty boy. I don't want to have a dirty board too. Okay. Point number 2 here. Now, this is something a little bit harder to grasp, but I want us to all understand it. Okay. I'm going to draw up a scenario and we'll do it like this. So, point number 2 is about playfulness. Now, what does playfulness really mean? When you meet a guy, one of the things you want to remember is that in your femininity, right, we want to create a fun, low stakes environment. What do I mean by low stakes? Is you want to focus on the feeling that you give men. I always talk to you all about feelings and emotions. And when you meet men, we want to be focused on giving them a feeling. See, the mistake that a lot of people will make in the way that they'll tell you to deal with and approach men in this dating world is because obviously men will take advantage of you if you allow them to take advantage of you. Sometimes you can come to your dates with your hard hat, your helmet on, and your work and construction boots on, taking notes and saying, hey, I'm not here to get played. So make sure you answer each one of my 35.3 questions. And each one of your answers better take at least 3 sentences or more. Please use point, like when you do that, you're gonna make a relationship very painful for men. And you're going to find yourself very disconnected from the men that you're dating. Why? Because there's no seduction in that approach, okay? There's no emotion in that approach. Even though you're trying your best to not get played, which I don't want you to get played, you're actually taking away one of the most important parts of the relationship and the building a relationship with the man, which is the sexual element, right? Is the attraction element. It's very hard to be attracted to someone who feels very robotic in their stance and in their approach. So what we want to do is we want to create playfulness from the very beginning in the way that you talk to and interact with him. I'm going to give you an example of what playfulness would look like. Let's say you're talking to this guy about the gym, okay? And you guys are on the topic of the gym. An example of playfulness would be in this scenario where you guys are talking about the gym. Let's just say you make a joke about, oh, I'm never having you as my trainer. Trust me, we're never going to the gym together, okay, right? So you say something like this, right? You say, we never going to the gym, right? And then he's going to say something like, well, why? Why would we never going to go to the gym, right? This is going to be his natural response. Why? Right? He's curious now. You're extending some curiosity. And your response will be, can anyone guess? Your response will be, you are way too distracting. You'll be way too distracting towards me and to this situation. I'm there to work out. I know you're going to be talking to me, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing that, right? All this other stuff is going to be very distracting to me, right? I don't want to be distracted by you. I don't need to be looking at nothing, okay? Now, what you're doing is you're being a little bit playful because you're telling him, don't come to my gym. I don't want to work out with you. I don't want to be around you. Why? Because I don't want to be distracted by you. What do you mean by distracted by me? What's going to be distracting you? Do you have some sort of attraction to me? If you weren't attracted to me, if you weren't into me, why would you be so distracted? But you see how you're being a little bit playful here in the way that you, and I'm going to talk about banter in a little bit, but the way that you talk and interact with him, right? It's, in a sense, it's like, hey, you're telling him, don't come to the gym, don't work out with me, don't be my trainer. I could never have you as a trainer. If you were my trainer, I'd never get anything done. But you're not actually saying what it is that you're really trying to say. But it's good. That's part of what playfulness is. Not actually spelling it out for people exactly how you feel or what you want. I know it sounds kind of like a game, but you have to understand when you're dancing and you're flirting with someone, that is actually what's the most interesting. Because rather than saying, oh, yeah, actually, I'm super attracted to you and, you know, your muscles are huge and I'm really turned on right now because of how big your muscles are and I think you're super hot. It's not going to have the same effect as the implication. Don't come to my gym. I'm trying to get work done. I'm not going to be able to get work done if I need to be focused. Okay. It's the same understanding of what someone is trying to say, but the fact that you don't say it and you're being a little bit playful with it is what makes it fun and creates an environment where there's seduction going on. I know it sounds like, wait, what? Me saying something like this is seductive? It is, because it leaves a little bit left to mystery. Seduction is also being a little bit mysterious and being a little bit less on the nose about everything you're feeling or you're thinking. I know a lot of people will tell you that you should just be super blunt, super honest, super straightforward with everything that you say and everything that you do. But the reality of it is when it comes to seduction, when it comes to emotion and creating a feeling within someone, especially for men, being playful and being a little bit mysterious is a lot more fun and exciting and enticing than being on the nose, being super blunt, and being super straightforward. So understanding how to incorporate a level of playfulness in the way that you talk and the way that you interact with guys will take you a lot farther when it comes to seduction and using sex to be able to get him to fall in love with you than you even thought possible, okay? Let's hop into point number 3. This is honestly way better than the eraser I got. Very sad. Very sad. This is way better. Okay. Point number 3 here. I'm glitching because you guys will think I'm crazy for putting this one here, but I have to, okay? I have to. Point number 3. I laugh. Okay. Let's think of it like this. Point number 3 is kinky games. Let's imagine this. So it's gonna look weird, okay? All right, we're going to imagine a scenario here. All right, so point number 3 is about kinky games. What do I mean by kinky games? Whenever you're thinking about how to use sex to make men fall in love, let's be so for real. If you can connect sex with other aspects of your relationship, you will be speaking a man's language. Now, let me help you understand 2 things simultaneously. Men will fall in love with you more when they invest in you more, whether it be financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of that stuff. The more that they invest in you, the more and deeper their feelings are for you. Okay, so that's number 1. What you also want to understand, though, is men don't really understand how to invest unless they're naturally motivated to invest. Let me explain that. What I mean by that is they understand how to pursue sex. And they understand how to pursue the opportunity of sex. That's very easy for them to compute. So if you can take that understanding that men have naturally, and you can connect that to investment, then you can create a scenario in which, as this guy is naturally pursuing sex, he's also simultaneously pursuing investment into you, which is connecting everything in the way that you want. Let me give you a perfect example of what I mean by that. So I have your daddy buys a dress, he takes me out to dinner, and he spends money on me. Creating a kinky game out of this is, remember, foundations and narratives are very important. So we want to create a scenario, not even a scenario. We want to create an element of your relationship where, oh my gosh, Anytime you buy me things, anytime you treat me like a princess, you take me out, you want to know what that does for me? Oh, that gets me so wet. Oh my God, you wouldn't even understand how turned on I am. Oh my God, when I see you paying that bill and it's $150, it does something to my body. Oh my God, when you're shopping for me and you come back with my favorite red dress, you wouldn't understand the way it just makes me shiver. And you're just such a big, strong man when you take care of things like a man. And you do. You want to know what these broke men are doing? They're going 50-50 with their. You're a big, strong, amazing, powerful man. You're so. I should get on my knees right now and worship you the way you're big and strong like this. When you talk like that, I know it sounds silly when I'm saying it on the show, but when you talk like that, you're speaking his language. And don't ever make a mistake here. You're doing something for yourself simultaneously as you're doing something for him. You're connecting sex with the way that he treats you. Very, very important thing to connect for men. They don't understand that you feel good about something until you speak a language that they want to hear, you feel makes you feel good. What do I mean by that? When you tell them something turns you on, now their ears are perked up. Oh, wait, what? What'd you say? It's getting you wet? Oh, if you're wet, that must mean we're closer to the possibility of sex. It's a natural connection that men will make. If you're turned on, that must mean sex could be right around the corner, or the possibility of it could be right around the corner. So the more that you tell me something is turning you on, the more that you tell me you're getting worked up, the more that you tell me you're lubricated, the closer I am to the possibility of sex. And if I'm closer to the possibility of sex, I need to keep on doing that thing over and over again so that I can eventually get to that destination, right? Because men have that natural desire to get to that destination. So you see how when you start speaking his language, now you start giving him this internal motivation to say, okay, you want to get closer to that destination or possibility of sex? You really want to get me wet, lubricated, and turned on? All of this stuff you've been doing, all that spending money, buying dinner, being a big, strong man, taking care of me, giving me princess treatment, that's doing something crazy for me. Okay? Do you start to see how you're using sex to make him invest in you, and his investment in you is what's subsequently going to make him fall in love deeper and deeper and deeper in you? Because as he's doing stuff for you, and I just wrote down some basic stuff, but any type of investment, it could be spiritually, it could be emotionally, doing things for you, paying for things for you, whatever the case may be, fixing things for you, all of that investment is what over time is going to make him fall deeper and deeper in love with you, because men don't know how to take action for a woman and not on an ongoing basis begin to feel feelings for that woman. It's just very difficult. Men, when they start taking action for you, it's connected to their emotions towards you, right? When they stop taking action for you subsequently, it's also connected to their lack of investment or feelings towards you, okay? Let's hop into our point number 4. I hope that made sense to all of you nasty people in the chat. Someone said knee pads? Okay. All right. I don't want to get any of you worked up here because I know some of you get triggered easily. I know someone commented in, I think it was our last live stream. They were like, why is Tomisin's chat full of a bunch of freaks? I don't really have the answer to that question, to be honest. All right, let's hop into point number 4, okay? Let's see here. Okay. So we're going to discuss something that I think is very important, okay? We're going to start off with point number 4, which is about banter. Now, when it comes to banter, what I want you to be understanding when it comes to conversation, in conversation, you want it to have a flow, okay? Right? We call this the flow, right? The reason I'm calling this flow is because conversation is supposed to feel fun and light. I'm not saying you can't ever talk about something serious, but when we're talking about seduction, it shouldn't be like, you're a drill sergeant. It shouldn't feel like that. Your energy shouldn't be that of a drill sergeant. If you're trying to seduce him, if you're trying to make that sexual energy be present in your relationship or in your talking stage or whatever, or on this date, right? We want to create a flow to the conversation that feels very natural, even though you're being calculated. but it feels very natural when it's coming out of you, and it feels very natural when you guys are having conversation, right? So why do I title this banter? Okay, I'm going to explain the terminology of banter, and then we'll discuss here a little bit more, right? So banter is important because banter is what's going to show him that you are witty, okay? Banter, essentially, in its most basic definition, is just your ability to kind of play off someone, make jokes at them, tease them a little bit, right? Not necessarily be so focused on, oh, I just want to be super serious. I want to talk about how much I like you, everything I like about you, and solely figure out how we're going to make a relationship work. Cool, that's great, you can do that. But what I also want, especially when you're meeting a guy from the very beginning, I want you to play with him a little bit. I want you to tease him a little bit. Why? Because your ability to tease someone and actually be quick-witted with your words and being able to have your own little comebacks actually shows someone that you're very witty, okay? And when someone sees that you're capable of being very witty, you might not actually think of this, right? But as you're able to show someone, I wrote that very funny, as you're able to show someone that you're very witty, did I spell that correctly? Yeah, I did. Okay. As you're able to show someone that you're very witty, you're also showing them that you have intelligence, right? Because in order to be witty, in order to have your quick comebacks, in order to be a little bit cutesy or funny with your jokes and the way that you tease him, you have to have that intelligence to be able to say things like that and do things like that. And I know it sounds very silly and very trivial, but in that intelligence that you show him, right? You're subsequently going to be a lot more attractive, right? Because here's the thing, right? I'll just be honest with you as a man. When men can feel like, oh, this woman's like on my level, right? Like she can take it, but she can also dish it out a little bit too. It helps men see you as their equal rather than seeing you as below them, which is good. We want men to meet you and from the very beginning, make them have the feeling that you're just as capable as he is, that you're just as intelligent as he is, that you're just as witty as he is. Because what it also shows him indirectly is that he will find it difficult to get over on you in this relationship or to pull the wool over your eyes in this relationship. And see, this is one of the ways, and it's funny, as you're having fun and as you're playing around, you're showing him something without having to tell him anything. When you're able to be like this, when you're able to banter with him, he understands, okay, it's not like she's someone where I can just convince her of anything. Because clearly she has this wittiness and intelligence about her that, one, I find attractive, but also shows me that she's more in line with my level of intelligence, my level of understanding, that I'm not just going to be able to tell her whatever I want to tell her and she'll believe it, right? She has a little bit of, wittiness and intelligence to her, okay? Sounds very kind of abstract, but it does happen. And it's a feeling that we get when we're able to establish a relationship that is playful, right? Banter is another version of playfulness, but it's just more about the words and the way that you're interacting with that guy, okay? Someone said, can we touch his dump? No, you can't touch anything on him. But this banter is good. Now, I seen someone ask, but what if we're an introvert? How can we do this? Well, here's the thing. Even as an introvert, right? This is what you have to understand. There's a difference between being an introvert to the point where you don't talk to anyone about anything anytime and being an introvert, but when you get comfortable with someone or when you're building a relationship with them, you're able to open up and you're able to talk more. I'm not saying that you have to turn yourself into an outgoing person, but you do need to strengthen your ability to have conversation. Because the reality of it is, whether you're an introvert or whether you're an extrovert, whether you don't like to go out or you do, you still have to get good at being able to have a flow towards your conversations, right? And make people feel things when you talk to them. Because if you can't, you'll be in a position where you're powerless, if that makes any sense. It'll be very difficult for you to seduce anyone if your only skill set is being shy in the corner, not talking, not looking at anyone in the eyes, and looking down all the time. How are you supposed to seduce anyone? Okay? How are you supposed to get anywhere with anything? There comes a certain point where you do have to get over your own fears and start to understand that certain skill sets will either be the difference between you being very attractive to people and being able to have successful relationships, or if you adopt the mindset that you're too introverted or too shy to do anything, well, then nothing good will happen for you. Okay. There's a certain point where I can help you, to the point where you have to say, no, I'm going to figure out how to have conversation, how to flow, how to make it interesting and fun, even if I feel a little bit nervous about that, right? Someone says, is Tommy an introvert or extrovert? Guess, chat. Guess in the chat which one I am. Okay, so I hope that makes sense with banter. Did I describe a version of banter? I think I did. Okay. Let's hop into our point number 5, okay? Now, for those of you who are curious, like a version of banter would be, when I say teasing, think of teasing like, you call someone out. This is just a funny version of teasing. So let's say you're dealing with a guy who loves to work out, like he's a bodybuilder or whatever like that. A version of banter or teasing would be like you saying, oh, yeah, I can see that you work out. Let's say he says he likes to work out. You can say, I can see that you like to work out. I also see that you like to wear shirts that are 2 sizes too small, right? It's a little bit of a jokey joke, right? Where you're saying, damn, that shirt really tight on you. But obviously you do work out, and I'm not saying you're not attractive, right? That's a version of banter where you tease someone in a way, it's a little bit me, okay, a little bit. But it's light enough where it's like, oh, my shirt's too tight. Why are you saying my shirt too tight? You get my point, okay? Those of you who work on this will understand how to banter a little bit more as time goes on, okay? Okay, now, let's think of this idea here, because in this one, I'm going to create an analogy, because I want this analogy to stick with you in your understanding of what we're trying to do here. Okay. So we'll start off here. Already drew it wrong. We'll start off here with a car. So you have your car here. And see, the car in itself is a vehicle to get somewhere, right? Because you ultimately have a destination whenever you have a car. But the problem is the car in itself is not the only thing you need to get to your desired destination. What do you also need if you have a car? You also need gas. I'm not going to draw gas. You get my point. You need gas in order to move this car. Because if you don't have gas, then your car is going to stay stagnant. Now, when you have gas and you have a car, all of a sudden you can get that car to move, right? And then you'll be able to get to your destination, okay? So when you have a car and you have gas to fuel that car, you can get yourself to your desired destination. How does this relate to your relationships? It's the same exact thing. But instead of it being a car, the car represents the man, right? And your gas in this scenario here is actually sex. And your destination that is desired by both of you is a relationship. Should be. So I talked about this earlier, right? In terms of tension, and in terms of, in terms of where you guys are trying to end up, it should be the same destination for both of you. But what you're strategically doing here is you're recognizing that men understand how to be motivated if you input something that speaks their language, which is sex. So you allow sex to feel like it's around the corner, because knowing or him feeling like it's around the corner is what's going to actually motivate him to get this thing going and drive it in a direction of this destination, which is a relationship. What do I mean by that? And why do I call this point number 5 tension? I don't even know if I introduced it, right? Point number 5 is tension. But what do I mean by that specifically? When you allow sexual tension to exist in your relationship and you don't shy away from it, because this can be the mistake. When you feel sexual tension, you try to say, nope, we can't be feeling this right now. This is not the time for that. I've got to be strict. I've got to be a drill sergeant. We can't have this going on. I don't want to give you the wrong impression. And you get into a place where you forget how motivating this can be for men to continue progressing the relationship forward and continue pursuing you. You're making a grave mistake. Because when men feel this tension within you, they feel the motivation to continue progressing forward and continuing to pursue you. Now, I know it's kind of disappointing because you're thinking, is he only pursuing me because of sex? Well, yes and no. Because he's pursuing you because his attraction to you gives him a natural desire to have sex with you. But as he explores the desire to have sex with you, and he does things for you, and he invests more in you, he gets closer and closer to this destination indirectly. So if you can just understand how to fill him with that tension and make him feel like, I'm not playing no game with you, I don't have no 60-day or 90-day or 30-day rule, I'm just feeling what I feel with you. Knowing in your mind, I'm not going to give it to you right now, but I'm feeling what I feel with you. And when there's tension, oh boy, there's tension. The both of us feel that tension. I'm just as attracted to you as you are. I'm just as into you as you are. And what you're doing is you're making him feel like, oh boy, any one of these days, we might sleep with each other. Any one of these days, we might explode and we'll just have each other and we'll have the most amazing time. That's actually a good thing. And I know it feels a little bit manipulative, but I want the guy that you're dating to kind of feel like, ooh, the way that we have sexual tension going on, it could come one of these days. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be the next day, but I just feel there's a lot of attraction going on here. I feel she wants me and I know I want her and I know we got a thing going on, right? This is what helps to keep them in their trance, where on an ongoing basis, they're like, oh my God, last time when I was with her, I don't know. I was feeling it and I thought we might have done it. And it was just like the way she was looking at me. All right, the next date, I don't know what's going to happen the next day, but I'm ready for it, right? And it keeps them in a motivated state. Remember, when we're doing this process, even though we're setting boundaries and even though we're making sure that men aren't going to take advantage of you, we don't want to let go of one of your biggest superpowers as a woman, is in your seduction. And part of your seduction is allowing men to desire you and be attracted to you. We don't want to kill that by being such a drill sergeant that you make it seem like, please don't feel any this sort of seduction or attraction towards me. Please don't ever think about sex around me because this is a sex-free zone. When you create an environment like that, you're not going to get the right response that you want. Even though you'll be setting great boundaries and you'll be such an amazing drill sergeant, no one will try you, you're still going to defeat the purpose of having those men be deeply attracted to you and even obsessed with you, okay? So let's hop into our point number 6, which literally goes hand in hand with point number 5 because it is the easiest trap, okay? All right. Okay. So, when we hop into point number 6, I want all of you to be paying attention because this is the biggest trap that will come your way, okay? Let me just see my notes here. Okay. So, this can be quite difficult to do. Point number 6 is about limits. Limits can be very difficult to navigate if you don't understand what it is you're actually doing here. What do I mean by that? In order for you to have limits, you have to understand the destination that you're shooting for, right? You want him, let's just talk about what you want here. You want that man to fall in love. This is your desired destination that you're trying to get to. You have to remember, on your road to this destination, right? You're over here. On your road to this destination, you have to remember, as you're going in this direction to get to that destination of making that man fall in love with you, you're going to reach temptation yourself. You're going to be in moments of weakness yourself. when you feel that attraction towards him as well, it's going to be difficult sometimes to stop yourself from doing everything all at once. What I don't want, and my fear, is that as you're practicing seducing him and as you're practicing making him feel all of this sexual tension, is that you'll get to a point where you say, well, damn, I really do actually like you. And I really do actually like spending time with you. And I am not joking around when I say I'm wet when you spend money on me and you do all this other stuff for me and you buy me these things. I actually am turned on. And now that we're kissing, now that we're touching, I just feel like I just want to do everything at once. And I know that I'm supposed to be keeping this, pacing myself and pacing you and pacing this relationship, but I feel things that I've never felt before. And I just want to let go of all of my different strategies and do what I feel is best in the moment. This is a grave mistake because when we're using sex to make men fall in love, we actually can't give men sex right away. Unfortunately, if we give men sex right away, we won't be doing what you're trying to do, which is make them fall in love through their desire for sex. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you're using his desire for sex to help him invest more in you so that he does fall in love, what we can't do is give all of that away that he no longer has that desire. Are you following what I'm saying here? So what we want to understand is as you're going onto this destination here, you're going to continuously have checkpoints, which we talk about in previous shows, different checkpoints that you're looking out for before you go into the next step of your physical relationship. But you want to understand when you're going into anytime you're doing anything intimate with him, knowing what your limits are, because what you're not going to do is you're not going to do everything all at once. But even when there's sexual tension and even when the two of you are doing things with each other, you need to be able to have the willpower to remind yourself, I have to stop it once it gets to a certain point. No matter how good I feel, no matter how amazing the vibes are, no matter what the scenario, I have to set a limit for myself. This is difficult. It's not very easy, okay? This is where you have to have immense willpower. And it's very easy to mess this part up because when you're feeling the vibes a lot, you just want to do it all. But then you're defeating the purpose of allowing the doing a little bit to give him the motivation to say, okay, I want to see you another day. Remember, you're not trying to have one amazing date ever. Anytime you go on a date, you're never just trying to have one amazing date. You're trying to have many amazing dates that will eventually lead to an amazing relationship. So just allowing yourself to enjoy a little bit at one time, but not going all the way is actually such an important part of using sex to make men fall in love. Because as you can progress just a tiny little bit, even in your sexual intimacy, it continues to motivate him to say, oh boy, I wonder what I can do or say or be in order to get to that next checkpoint. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. As men become internally motivated by their desire to sleep with you, they will continue investing in you. As they continue investing in you, that's when they learn about you, they understand you better, they grow in their relationship with you, and then they eventually get to the point where they say, no, I don't just want to have sex with her, I also like the person that she is. I also am becoming attached to the relationship that we have outside of the sex. It sounds very strange, okay? Now, let's hop into our point number 7 that I know a lot of you will find a struggle whenever we're talking about sex in the way that we're discussing it here, okay? Because you're all women, it's okay. And so I want to address this to all of you, right? Point number 7 here. All right, so let's draw this visual out here. And let's think of this like this. So point number 7 is about frustration. Now I'm specifically referring to sexual frustration. One of the things that you will probably struggle with when you're trying to withhold sex from men because you're using it to help him to fall in love with you is you'll fall into this trap of feeling very bad and sad for him. The reason you feel very bad and very sad is because you don't feel good about making him so frustrated with you. Because you know when you're kissing him and he's touching you, he's all horned up. And when he's all horned up, when you leave after just a bunch of kissing and touching, that he's a little bit frustrated because he didn't get to come. Okay, let's just be for real. But here's the thing, and I want you to kind of understand this in a visual here, okay? See, when we're thinking about our destination here, right, of the relationship, as we talked about earlier in the show, when we're thinking about this destination, and let's just say it's at 30%, right? You guys are 30% of the way there in terms of what you know about each other, how you understand each other, how you go about your relationship and everything, right? You're closer, but you're not there. What we don't need to happen, ever need to happen, we never need you to get to that 90%, right? We don't need you to get to 90% in one day. We don't need that. We don't need that because it's not necessary and it doesn't serve you. The truth of the matter is, what serves you the most is even if each one of these days it goes to 31, and then another day is 32, and then another day is 33, and another day is 34, it's a lot better for you to incrementally go up little by little, even if it's frustrating for him to go up little by little, because what will happen is as he continues to invest in you over the course of time, it'll become harder for him to walk away from you as he has put more and more investment in you. So even though he's gonna express frustration with not being able to go to 90% in one day, if he has respect for you, and he actually wants to be with you, even though it's frustrating to not get the 90% in one day, he will come back and invest again. And then he'll get a little bit of progress. Then he'll come back and invest again, and he'll get a little bit of progress. So it's so important to understand what your ultimate goal is, using sex to help motivate him to continue pursuing you and progressing the relationship forward. You're obviously not going to never have any sort of intimacy with him, and you're obviously going to express some of that intimacy with him at certain times by doing certain things with him. You might tongue kiss him, you might make out, he might feel you up, you might feel him up, whatever the case may be, but you're not going to let him have that ultimate goal all in one day. That way, he keeps coming back as a repeat customer. You also get an opportunity to feel them out, feel the vibes out, and feel what his level of interest his level of interest in you really is. What I mean by that is you'll find out very quickly the men who become frustrated and say, I was only here to sleep with you in the first place, so I don't even want to do this anymore. You'll also get an understanding of the men who are frustrated, but they still continue to invest in you, right? Take note of a man's actions, because men can express frustration with not being able to sleep with you while still investing in you. So what does it really matter if he continues to invest in you? Now, if you see a change of actions, that's a different thing, okay? Now, do you guys have any questions about the 7 that we just discussed here today, okay? All of these questions I will definitely try my best to answer, because I know it's a little bit of a complex idea here. I'll answer any questions that you guys have. LP Baby says, for point 4, banter, what if I'm sensitive at times? How do I conceal if I'm bothered? Tips, please. Well, if you're bothered, I'm not going to say you shouldn't feel bothered, but part of understanding how to banter with people is allowing things to like just roll off your back, so to speak, right? You do have to practice that. I'm not saying it's something that you just are going to be able to be born with or be blessed with. But the other thing to do and to note is, as you meet people and grow in your understanding of human beings, you'll realize that in everything, everyone has their own versions of insecurities. Everyone has their own versions of things that people can make fun of. The more you interact with people, the less scary it will become. Usually when you're the most bothered by things and the most insecure by things, it's because you're lacking perspective. So if, let's just say for the sake of example, if I have a huge pimple on my forehead, I'm thinking, oh my God, everyone's staring at my pimple and everyone thinks I'm so ugly because I have a pimple on my forehead. In reality, no one really cares that much. So even if someone points out your pimple, they point out your pimple for, 30 seconds, and then they move on to their own lives because they don't really care that much about what's going on in your life. So when you're bantering with people, also remember when you're bantering with someone, even though that person might be making fun of you, they have their own versions of insecurities. And by the time you got, even if you're on a date with someone, by the time you go home, they're not going to remember any of the insecurities that you're thinking so deeply about. It's just the reality. And that it's almost like a version of just look at the audience and imagine them in their underwear type of thing, because it just doesn't matter as much as you think it matters. Justice Liberty says, can I make a relationship out of all this flirting? Well, you definitely can. You definitely can. And that's the whole purpose of today's show. It's not about having sex with the men, but it's about understanding how seduction and the sexual tension that you can build, the playfulness that you can build, is what will entice a man to continue to invest in you and then eventually fall in love with you. Okay? Stella says, you're doing it for growth. He just wants the goal. It's to lower your bar standards. Wait, what? I don't understand what you mean. You're talking about in his pursuit of you. I mean, yeah, we could see, this is the thing. I understand that some of you might take this as, oh, but you're just inviting guys to basically want to have sex with you and then just not having sex with them. Well, yeah, when a guy meets you and he's attracted to you, he has a desire to have sex with you, whether he's super evolved, whether, you know, he's a really grown, mature man, or he's an immature man. Any man who meets you and is physically attracted to you will have a desire to have sex with you. So understanding how we can use that desire, that natural desire, because it's a natural desire, to channel his energy into a place that will create a successful relationship, I think is the best way for you to go about that. Because then you'll end up in situations where rather than trying to change a man's nature, you understand his nature and you figure out how to get what you want and what will also be best for him by channeling his energy in the right place and both of you being satisfied and happy in that scenario. I don't think that when we strategize and we work on ways to approach relationships, that it has to be either you win or he wins. Even though it's, you know, technically a war, I don't think that the end goal or outcome has to be, oh, you won and he lost, or he won and you lost. I think that even when you're strategizing, you can strategize in a way that everyone ends up happy because they get a little piece of what they were looking for, if that makes any sense. Okay? The real Vivia says, you don't have to be playful all the time. I mean, you don't have to be all the time of anything, right? You don't even have to be all the time funny. That's just I'm giving you an example or a concept of an energy that you want to bring at times to be able to have that element in your relationship, okay? Blue says, for the 5th and 7th point, how long is specifically too long for a man to exert sexual tension upon us to the point that it feels like a game of control? Who blinks first loses. I don't think so. This is going to sound kind of weird, Blues, but I don't think sexual tension ever has to go away in your relationship. All you have to gauge is, even though we have sexual tension and I'm not giving myself completely to him, does he keep coming back to continue to date me? If that's the case, why does anything need to change? Nothing needs to change. Even if there's sexual tension and he's like, damn, you're not giving it to me. Damn, we haven't slept together yet, but he still continues to date you and he still continues to treat you well. What's the problem here? That there's what's the problem with sexual tension? I don't think there is any, right? I think there should be a healthy amount of sexual tension in your relationship, and there should be a healthy amount of desire on both of your parts to have sex eventually in the relationship when it works out, which is why, specifically why, I told you guys in our very first point, I want you to create a narrative that both of us are going to work together to get to our desired destination of a relationship. And the other thing I should have mentioned with narrative, and the way that I want you to paint it, I want you to paint it from the beginning as, I have attraction to you. And I do actually have a desire to like sleep with you. But I also know we will both get the best experience sleeping with each other when we learn more about each other and understand each other better. Because how are the men supposed to argue with that, right? Are they going to say, I want a worse sexual experience and sleep with you now? Or are they going to say, oh no, I actually want a better sexual experience that will blow and knock my socks off, and so we just have to focus on learning and understanding each other. Then you can create, with that narrative, what you can do then is when you do deny him or when you do say, no, we can't go there with it, you can make the problem the thing that both of you are attacking rather than making it seem like it's you versus him. What I mean by that is when you don't sleep with him, you'd be like, oh, remember, like me and you, it's not that I don't want to, because I want to. Me and you were on the same page. You know we have a thing going on. But I know that we just need to work on building the other parts of our relationship out before we hop into that point, because you know we want it to be amazing. And then it can be like, yeah, amazing sex, eventually teamwork, okay? I know that it sounds very silly, but painting that narrative will change him feeling like you're denying him or you're against him or this is a game of you versus me versus being like, no, we want the same thing, but the way that we're gonna get there is by approaching it this way, right? Creating teamwork out of this will not make it feel as offensive, if that makes any sense, okay? Ree says, but I understand he's speaking for the majority as he should. You're talking about me speaking about this? Someone says, but when you're neurodivergent, you can often be robotic and fact-based. Social skills are naturally, let me see what you said here. Social skills are naturally your weakest point, even with plenty of practice. Well, I understand everyone's a little bit different, but do I have to still be real with you and honest with you in the fact that men will respond best to seduction in a way where you're not so drill sergeant-y? That's just the reality. I can't lie to you on that, because if you approach men like a drill sergeant, yeah, you'll be able to set great boundaries, but it'll feel so adversarial in your approach that it will repel a lot of men away. I just have to be super honest with you. You're not going to attract a lot of men with that approach of being like a drill sergeant. Hey, let's do this and this at that time. This and this is how it's going to go. We're going to do, like, it's not going to work. You're going to find a lot of men will not respond to that. It's just, I have to be real. I don't make the game, but I will explain it all to you. Okay. LP Baby says for question number 4, can we still receive queen treatment? For point number 4, can we still receive queen treatment by being a jokester? How to balance it better? I be joking a lot. So there's always a balance to teasing, right? You don't want to be joking or being playful or bantering at a time where things are supposed to be serious. That's just something you have to learn over the course of time. When is the right time and place to be joking around and be teasing someone versus when is the time to have a serious conversation, okay? Anytime someone, for any of you who are confused about that, anytime you're having a conversation where someone is expressing in detail how they feel towards something you may have done to them or something that may have upset them, or you're expressing that in something that someone has done to you or may have upset you, anytime a conversation like that is happening, no jokes, no teasing, no banter, okay? Because one, you don't want to shame someone for expressing themselves, so that's the worst time to be bantering or being playing around. And vice versa, you don't want someone to not take you seriously because you're having banter or playfulness during the time where you're trying to express something serious to you and serious to your heart. You understand what I'm saying? So those are the worst times where I don't want you doing any sort of bantering, right? That's where you have to like take things seriously, okay? For any of you who are confused. Cindy says he waited 6 weeks for sex. It's new to him and allowed him to fall in love with me. It is true. I know it's confusing and also a little bit disappointing for a lot of you to think that men are falling in love with you through their desire for sex, but that's the reality, right? Like they start off having a desire to sleep with you and have sex with you because you're an attractive, amazing woman with a huge dump truck and an amazing body, right? You're very sexy, very seductive. So in that process, though, as he gets to know all of your personality and how amazing your character is, then he has so much more to love about you than just the way that you look, which is great, right? Because once he has that part of you, once he understands and knows that part of you, that's the part that's really going to be sticky, if that makes any sense. Flower says, the happier I get, the more playful I feel in general. Sometimes I'm nice and playful. Other times I feel downright ruthless and mean, but I try to be kind and I'm working on it. It's okay. It's okay. We're all a work in progress and nobody does it perfectly, even me, right? I have to learn and had to learn how to be playful in my relationships and bring a nice environment to dating, right? Nobody wants to go on a date and feel like they're in an interview. Even though I do want you to interview men, I don't want you to make them feel like it's an interview, right? I want you to be inquisitive and questioning from the standpoint of how interesting you find them, right? Because that creates a feeling of, oh, this is an open environment for me to share and be honest and be myself, as opposed to I'm asking you all these questions because I'm grading you and this is a test and I'm trying to see which one you're gonna fail, okay? When you do it like that, the people aren't gonna be responding to that well, right? Someone says, I have a husband test, like you have a written husband test? Okay, interesting. All right, chat, let's hop into our, oh, by the way, For those of you who have a personal question for me, whether it be related to the show topic or completely unrelated, just about your man or your situationship, whatever the case may be, you can go into the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description on YouTube and click where it says private relationship advice. Then you can ask me a personal question about your situationship or relationship, and I will give you my personal advice on what you should do or just perspective if that's what you're looking for, okay? So you can do that by going to those links there, click where it says private relationship advice. Now, so what are some red flags? Our real first video here.
Here's how you...
So what are some red flags you're noticing in cheaters?
Yeah, great question. These ones are kind of fun. Red flags. So let's see. They're going to accuse you of cheating. That's a big one. Another one, change in levels of intimacy. Super more frequent, non-existent, freaky crazy requests. Ew, red flag. Another one, hiding your electronic communications and especially your cell phone. I'm out of flags. Like that's just the biggest one, is when people become so protective of their electronic communications and cell phones. Absolute red flag.
Okay, let's go through all of these ones. Let's go through all of them one by one.
Yeah, great question. These ones are kind of fun. Red flags. So let's see. They're going to accuse you of cheating. That's a big...
I definitely do think there's a level of projection that goes on anytime someone's doing something very nefarious. They're always going to be thinking that their partner is thinking that exact same way and going about life that exact same way. So I'll give you an example of something like, let's say you have a guy who loves going to the gym and he accuses you a lot of flirting with people at the gym or doing things that are inappropriate at the gym. There's a high likelihood that he's probably doing something at the gym, especially if the way that he's accusing you seems to be based on zero evidence, right?
Big one. Another one, change in levels of intimacy. Super more frequent, non-existent, freaky crazy requests. Ew, red flag.
That's another what I call pattern interrupt. If someone that used to be vanilla or used to be into certain type of things randomly gets all of these different kinks and fetishes out of nowhere, it's probably because he's exploring different things with other people, right? That's another example of a pattern interrupt.
Another one, hiding your electronic communications and especially your cell phone. I'm out of flags. Like,
I think that one's pretty straightforward, right? If someone is super overprotective over you touching or seeing their cell phone, then obviously they have some stuff on there that they probably don't want you to see. Probably.
The most dangerous thing a woman can do is learn how to love herself. Because the moment she does, she stops tolerating disrespect. She stops chasing those who never chose her. She stops settling for almost and maybe, and that's when they start to fear her. Not because she's cold, but because she's finally free. Learn to love yourself. Your freedom is in your self-love. Learn to love yourself.
He's so close.
Your freedom is in your self-love.
He's so close.
Learn to love yourself.
He's in my ear.
Your freedom is in your self-love.
He's in my ear.
Learn to love yourself.
He's in my ear now.
Your freedom is in your self-love.
I can see his pores. Okay, so here's the thing, and I'll even add on to this why it's very dangerous for you to love yourself from the standpoint of people who want to take advantage of you. I always tell you guys, it's funny. Our show is about relationships and understanding men. But in the process of understanding men and attraction and how attraction works, it ends up a lot being about how you can invest more into yourself so that you can become the most attractive version of yourself to really anyone in general. Because the reality of it is the men go after the women in the world, in life, that are investing the heaviest into themselves. How do you think a woman gets super fit with an amazing body that all the men are craving her and desiring her? By going to the gym. That's investment in herself. How do you think a woman gets super clear, amazing skin, glass skin that everyone's like, oh my God, your skin's so beautiful? By investing in herself and her skincare routine and all that good stuff, right? How do you think she gets beautiful, luscious, amazing hair? By investing into herself. How do you think she has all these clothes that look amazing on her and she styles herself great and she dresses so nice? By investing in herself. How do you think she has such good spiritual energy? She's so relaxed. She's so peaceful to be around. Everyone loves to be around her and receive her energy because she invests in herself. Everything that is attractive to human beings in this world is about how you invest in yourself. The moment you think that you become more attractive by investing in others, you've lost. Right? Because that's not how you become more attractive. In fact, when you invest so much energy into others, that's when you're most repulsive to people, because people do not want to be around people who are investing all of their time and energy into other people, because what that subsequently means is you've been neglecting yourself. And if you've been neglecting yourself, it'll show in your looks, it'll show in your energy, it'll show in your desperation, it'll show in or everything, it'll show it. Okay?
Let's talk about the signs that you have found the one. So if you find a guy who checks yes to pretty much most of these, then marry him. He's the one. Okay, the first is he loves your good qualities and accepts and embraces the bad without making you feel guilty for having flaws. You don't need to hide your true self from him. You don't need to mold yourself to be what you think he wants. You can share your true self. You can be vulnerable and you feel safe doing so. You don't feel like any of this will be weaponized against you.
Now, let's have a key element to this discussion. This is not meant to be about trying to make that person anyone that you're on a date with. I think that the misconception is that, yeah, you're supposed to feel emotionally safe enough to tell someone your flaws and insecurities, a guy that you're with. Yes. The guy that you end up with, that you marry, should be the one that you feel safe enough to talk about your insecurities and your flaws and be your true self with. However, when you go out on a first date, you're not necessarily able to confirm or deny if that guy is that guy. So you only allow that to be the case if after a while he presents himself to you as the person who you can actually be that emotionally safe with and that vulnerable with. And that happens over the course of time by building trust. I don't want you to try and make a guy who is not that guy, only to realize down the line that he'll weaponize it against you, right?
Number 2, he's there for you even when it's inconvenient for him. This is important because it's easy to be the perfect partner when everything's going great, when everyone's schedule is in sync, when there's no problems, when you're on your best behavior, when it's just smooth sailing. But that's not the reality of a situation. What is it like when the storm comes through? How does he react when things get tough? What is he like when he has to make a sacrifice in order to be there for you? Now that's what you need to look at. Number 3, he factors you in. This reminds me of the breakup scene, one of the breakup scenes between Carrie and Big in Sex and the City before he moves to Paris. And she's like, why is it so hard for you to factor me into your life in any real way? The right guy for you factors you in. He considers you. He treats you as a partner, as a vital part of his life and a vital part of his decision making. Number 4, he's growth oriented. No one is perfect. You will not find the perfect man, so stop looking.
Sorry, to go along with number 3, that's part of the reason why I say meet the friends and family, right? Well, be gauging how ready or not ready he is to meet his friends and family. Because if you're not meeting any of them, he's not really ingratiating you into his life. If he's not ingratiating you into his life, then you're like on an island here. And on that island, he can say anything he wants to you. He can be anyone he wants. He can also leave you whenever he wants because you're not attached to anything else in his life.
Look for a man who is growth oriented, a man who wants to work on himself, who wants to be better, who prioritizes that. And I always find it to be a huge red flag anytime someone says that they don't believe in therapy. So watch out for that. Number 5.
If you find a man who's not interested in growing or developing himself in any way, or doesn't think that he needs to change anything, or thinks his life is perfect how it is, just go ahead and end that date with that guy. Because when you ask him to improve certain things about himself or, as a partner, what do you think his response will be? I'm already perfect, right? I don't need to change anything. Why would I? I'm not interested in that.
Common beliefs and values. A relationship cannot survive on chemistry alone. You have to have fundamental compatibility. If he's going to be your life partner, you have to make sure you are on the same page when it comes to important life choices, like when it comes to where to live, whether or not to have kids, how many kids to have. Are you a saver or a spender? What kind of lifestyle do we want to have? Are we on the same page politically, religiously, if that matters to you? You have to figure out what your values are and make sure that you are aligned. And if he is aligned, great. If not, is he willing to work on it? Are you willing to work on it? Are you willing to compromise? If not, then you're wasting your time here.
I love that. Location, number 1, is one of the biggest, easiest things to look past when we're thinking about being in a relationship. If you're with a guy who wants to live in an area that you have no business wanting to live in or trying to live in, you're wasting a lot of time. wasting a whole heap of time. Okay. The other thing is in certain things, because we hear nice evolved words like compromise, like see the other person's perspective, take factor in what they want. But like when it comes to certain things, it's just not possible to compromise. So for example, I was helping a woman who she was like, oh, I don't want to have children. And, I just, when I'm meeting other people, I don't know what to do. Should I wait till we date before I tell them? Or should I just allow the situation to get to a point where that becomes a conversation? And I said, no. As early as you can talk about that, talk about that. If that's the first date, if it's even before the first date, and you mention, I don't want to have children, or see how he feels about having children, get that answer as soon as possible. Because if his answer is anything except, yeah, I don't want to have children either, or saying it himself that that's not what he wants, then you're wasting a whole bunch of time. Because how are you possibly going to be able to compromise on a child? You can't have half a child. You can't have a quarter of a child. So if that's the case and you guys are that far apart, doesn't matter how much you love him, doesn't matter how many vibes there are no vibes when you guys don't have the same level of compatibility in important parts of a relationship.
Number 6, he wants to put effort into the relationship. If there's a problem, he wants to find a way to solve it. He wants to work harder, to be better, to be his best self. I've said this before and I'll keep saying it. The most important quality in a man or in a partner in general, is somebody who wants to make it work, someone who will do anything to make it work. If you don't have that, then you don't have anything. Now, if you love this list so much, you're like, I wish this was written down.
I like all of the things that she said here. Okay. And when you say wants to make it work, right? The best way to gauge that is to do nothing, especially at the beginning. Because when you do nothing, you let men show you how much desire they have to actually be with you. I know it sounds a little bit selfish, but you don't want to be over investing yourself and trying to force a relationship with a man who doesn't even have that interest, right?
But I'm changing. I am changing. I'm changing for you. I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. I literally thought about getting you flowers. Like, I thought about it. That's how you know I'm changing. I thought about getting you flowers. We were doing so good. Why do you gotta do this? Why do you gotta do this? You know this is the day my grandma died, right? And you gotta...
The thought one happens a lot because, guys thinking and action is not the same, but it almost feels like action the way they'll describe it.
Do this to me now? Why do you have to do this to me? I don't know how she got unblocked, but I didn't do it. I swear to God, on my dead turtle's grave, I didn't do it. I was literally gonna propose to you next week. I was, yeah. I was gonna go ring shopping tomorrow, and I was gonna propose to you. Because I fucking love you. I love you. I love you. You're the only one I want. I don't want anyone else. Fine, I'll just delete everything I'll delete Instagram, I'll delete Snapchat, I'll delete everything. Just give me one more chance, please. No.
Chat, which one of these do you think I've done before? Based on your understanding of me. Tell me which ones you think I've done before in my relationships.
Thought about getting you flowers. We were doing...
These are funny. But guys do these a lot, okay? Someone said all of them. The delete everything. Okay, interesting. All of them. It's not all of them. Someone says you did nothing. No, I'm not a perfect human being. I would never say that. I definitely have said some of these things for sure. The thought one. All right, next one.
So I'm 25 and I just got married to the most amazing man ever. 6'5", super successful, blessed, and handsome, and super traditional. So he takes care of bills and everything. And everybody keeps asking me, well, what's your secret? What did you do? I manipulated them.
Why do you guys, a lot of you guys are saying the delete social media one. Is it because of what my IG looks like? My IG's not bad, but I do get some wild DMs. I be telling you guys, I do get some wild DMs. But my IG's not a bad IG. My IG a bad IG? What's wrong with my IG, chat? What?
But I'm...
We got a problem?
So I'm 25 and I just got married to the most amazing man ever. 6'5", super successful, blessed, and handsome, and super traditional. So he takes care of bills and everything. And everybody keeps asking me, well, what's your secret? What did you do? I manipulated that man. The moment that he asked me to be his girlfriend, I started cooking. I started cleaning for him. Mind you, I'm not even that type of girl, but I was just like, all right, let me try and see. Because I always tell people, don't cook for men that's not your husband. But I tried it. I cooked, I cleaned, I was available whenever he needed me to be, and then I just stopped. Like 3 months in, I just stopped. Like nothing. He couldn't get me to cook for him. He would ask me to do very small things, and I'll be like, no, I'm not your wife. I don't think I should be doing that. And then here we are. And I'm not even telling people to do that. I'm just saying, give them a taste. Give them a taste of what it would be like if they were actually your husband, and then just stop. I am not even joking. I mean, go all out for a minute and then just stop. And then let's see. So
This is one of those, I don't like, the reason I don't like stories like this is because I feel like when people say things like this, you guys get excited and say, oh, I should do this myself. This does not actually work. Because on majority of men, when you do because you have to remember, her strategy consisted of being wifey for basically the first 3 months, doing all the stuff that he needed, and then stopping. But we also have to remember, how often do relationships end in that first 3 month span, right? That 3 month mark is the mark where everyone kind of falls apart. So for most men, what will happen is when you do all that at the beginning, they'll suck you dry, not in a good way. They'll suck you dry of your energy and all the stuff all your time as well. And then by the time that 3 month mark comes and you switch it up, he'll just say, oh, perfect. I had my 3 months with you, my 3 month subscription. Now I'm going to go move on to someone else now that I realize you're no longer going to do everything for me. I think the reason that this worked out is for a couple of reasons. One, that man was probably already in a state where he was ready to be in a relationship. Do you understand what I'm saying? And he was looking for a woman that he was going to make his wife. Very important, because even if you meet, even if you're an amazing woman, you're super seductive, super sexy, super smart, intelligent, everything that a man would want, and you meet him at a time where he's not ready to actually have a wife, none of that's going to matter. So she kind of lucked up in her strategy, worked well on a man who was already in a state ready to be married, and also able to clearly afford a ring. It doesn't look like she's wearing nothing small, okay? So there's a lot of elements there that she didn't yet discuss that also factor into why she's now married based on that strategy. Just warning you all, okay?
I've only ever dated golden retrievers, so these are my secrets. You need to be so busy and so consumed in your own life that you don't even notice this man. I don't care if you have nothing going on, make something going on. Take yourself on a solo date. You don't have any money? Go to a park. Journal. It is totally free. The journal isn't free. It's linked in my bio, but the park is, so you can sit there. Also, be working towards something. Be ambitious. Have a goal that you want to achieve. I don't mean you need to be climbing somebody's corporate ladder, but you could be working towards something. So maybe you've never run before and now you want to run your first 5K, and by the end of the year you want to run a half marathon. Something. I don't care. Make a consistent effort to take care of yourself, because literally who else is going to do it? You need to be going to the gym. If you don't have money, it is totally free to jog around the block. You can do that. You have no excuses. When you take care of yourself, mind, body, soul, spirit, all of it, it shows. Do it. Last but not least, do not call that man unless you absolutely need something at that specific moment. Don't text him, no, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm thinking about you. Shut up. That's stupid. Don't do that. Instead, you call him when you need something. If he does not answer and then he follows up with you later, hey, I was doing something, whatever, be like, oh, another man did for me. I don't care who that man is. Just say another man took care of it for you. He will never, ever miss your phone call again. Even if he has to answer in work, he will still call you. And remember, none of this is faking or mind games. If you are so obsessed and consumed with yourself, if you have a life of your own, you aren't faking it. You are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing in life, focusing on yourself. So do that.
The last part of what she said, it depends on the context in which you use that. So for example, let's say hypothetically you called him because you're like, oh, I need to drive home. And then he doesn't answer. And then you're like, yeah, no, another man drove me home. I'm going to be like, what the did you just say? Who drove you? Who drove you home? Show me his ID that drove you home. Because why are you in the car with the strange man who drove you home? And I'm going to lose my mind. But in the right scenario where it's something less, I guess, intimate than that, I understand what she's trying to say, right? You want him to be uncomfortable with the idea of someone else doing things for you, that he would then make sure he's, able to answer you. But also you have to be understanding that you might call that man and need something at a time where he's genuinely busy himself. So there has to be a little bit of respect there and understanding that not everyone's going to be available to you also 24/7, that you shouldn't punish a guy for not being available to you when he was genuinely doing something else, okay? But that's just me. Yeah, I'm a little bit crazy, chat. So trust me, no one would want to be with me. I'm crazy and I'm controlling and I'm very intense, okay? Let's hop into our next segment of the show. Okay. It's a very, very amazing time. I want all of you Players Club members to spam it up in the chat if you know what time is coming. For those of you who are new here and unaware of how we do things here, you're in for a treat, okay? It's a special time. It's an amazing time. And it's a time where you're going to laugh and you're going to cry. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your entire home. If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. Quiet or loud, chat. Quiet or loud. Quiet or loud. Discord time. Yeah, okay, chat. We did quiet today. For those of you who are very confused about what this is all about, Discord time is where all of the amazing members of our Players Club Discord community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their relationship or their situationship, and I answer it live on the show. Now, there are a few different ways for you to send in your question, 3 ways for you to send in your questions specifically, and I'm going to explain all of those amazing ways to you right now. The first way is to send your question into our free relationship advice forum. You can access that by going into the link in my bio on TikTok or in my description on YouTube. Click where it says Players Club Discord, and you can go into the Discord and drop your question into our free section as you please. Make sure you format it how everyone else has been formatting it. Now, when you go in here, you'll also see a bunch of other questions, and you can see on my screen that these are all highlighted. Why? Because I haven't gone to them yet. I'm just one person, and there's lots of people in our Discord asking questions. So in order for me to do this fairly, I do it first come, first serve in the free section. And you can see our oldest question is over 30 days old. So to be honest with you, it's going to take me a couple of weeks to get to your question if you ask it today in our free section. Now, if you are not willing to wait very long for your question to get answered because you're impatient and you don't have time to be waiting weeks for a question, you can also ask your question in our premium relationship advice forum. Now, the only way you're allowed to ask a question here, because the way that this works is you get to skip the line of people, because I read these questions out before I read out the free section, right? And so if you're going to be able to skip the line and I read it out beforehand, this is what you have to do. You go to the link in my bio if you're watching on TikTok, or in my description if you're watching on YouTube. You click where it says Premium Discord Relationship Advice. Then you're going to be prompted to donate to the show. And you're also going to be prompted to put in your Discord username and the title of your question along with your donation. So when you send it all in at once, I get a notification on my phone. I see that that's your donation. I see that that's your message. And then I also see that that is your username and your question, so that when I look at it here, I know it's supposed to be in here, because that's what you're actually have done the process of doing what you're supposed to do to be in here, right? Because you're skipping the line, obviously. So let's just make sure to do it like that to keep it fair for everyone here. Now, the third way to send in your question is for those of you who are in the show and want my advice or want my perspective, but you don't want to to be read out on the show because maybe you're a more private person. This is our private relationship advice link here. It's in the Discord. It's also available in my description on YouTube and also in the link in my bio on TikTok. Click where it says private relationship advice, and then you can ask me a direct question personally, privately, and I will answer it. I'll give you some advice and give you some perspective, and no one else will see it. I'll respond with a voice note as well, so you'll be able to know it's 100% me there reading your question. Okay, let's start off with our first few premium questions here. Okay, so we're going to start off today with Vicky. So Vicky's question is titled Detached. Thank you for your wisdom, Tommy, and I hope you can help me with this one. By the way, chat, I got glasses the other day. They're coming soon. I just went to go get my prescription glasses because it's kind of hard for me to read the board from here. So anyways, my situation is quite different from most of the questions I see usually in your show. Okay. Talk to me. I was abandoned by my mother when I was an infant and raised only by my dad. This has made me a very logical thinker, which is great for a business aspect as I am very successful in making money. However, it has made me very detached emotionally to people when it comes to relationships. And I really find it hard to show vulnerability and can get over anyone very fast. Although I might have strong feelings for someone, it is hard for me to show it sometimes. For example, in arguments with exes, I have been called names like robot, cold-hearted, narcissistic, stoneheart, and even though I know deep down I am not those things, maybe my abandonment issues and being raised without a mother makes me appear that way. I am very girly / feminine in my appearance and things I'm interested in, but when it comes to emotions, I guess I express mine not like other most girls. Would never show a man that I'm upset or cry if we break up. I just go ahead and move on fast. When you say move on fast, like I'm also worried about what does moving on fast mean for you? I'm also a workaholic, sounds like me, and very financially successful. So sometimes I have felt a kind of jealousy / competition from guys I've dated. Okay, interesting. The last guy I was seeing, I followed all your advice perfectly, but then at one point we just randomly stopped speaking. And I know you always say, if you don't hear from a guy, then do nothing. However, in my case, I'm not sure if I was literally showing too little interest. He's always saying that I'm too busy, not having time for him, etc., which I am actually a very busy person. But how can I know if a situation is that the guy was really just not interested to pursue, or if I was the one that made him feel insecure that I'm not interested because of my distance / not expressing my emotion? Do you think I should reach out to that guy with a nice message asking how he is doing, or just leave it? No, first of all, you're going to leave it. Now, let me explain to you how you balance interest. And I've talked about this on previous shows, but I'm going to explain it to you in this question. When you're balancing interest, what you want to be focusing on is giving an ebb and flow. What was the show that we had? I can't remember. It was a recent show that I just posted even on my main channel, not even in the live section, in the main section. But when you're talking about dating men, you want to make sure that the most amount of time that they're feeling your interest is when you're on that date with them in person. Vice versa, you want to make them feel that you're the most disinterested in them when they're not around you, not with you, because you have other things that you're focusing on. Why? Because you want to create a psychological effect where he says, in order for me to feel that same level of interest from you, I have to get it in person because I won't be able to get it any other way. Now, the other way you can kind of cement that ideology in his mind is by when he does say to you, hey, I'm feeling like you're not very interested in me, or whatever the case may be, remind him on an ongoing basis, no, I actually am just a really bad texter, but I'm so much better in person that it's like a night and day difference. You wouldn't even believe how much differently you'd feel or realize about, what's going on in our relationship if we were in person. It's just over text, it comes across the wrong way. When you can continue cementing that ideology or concept in his mind, then he'll start to put 2 and 2 together where it's like, oh, I'm not getting this energy from you because you're not interested. I'm getting this energy from you because we're not in person. And if you can cement that by actually being in person and making him feel like you want to be here, like you're interested, like you're invested in some of the other shows that I've talked about, with the strategies that you'll use when you get onto that date to make him feel your investment, then he'll be able to say, oh, okay, I get it now. I see it that you're not just not interested in me in general. It's just that I feel that way when we're apart or because you're not that big of a texter, right? It'll be cemented more in his mind. But what you're not going to do is you're not going to then, when in your response to that, try and be a textaholic or try and, impress him over text or get to know him over text if he's not even interested enough to ask you out on a date. It's almost like in a weird way, you're rewarding men by showing them your interest when they do work for you by actually planning and organizing a date. And I don't know if you actually went on a date with this guy because you didn't mention it here. You just kind of said, stop talking. But that's the thing, right? You don't want to be thinking, oh, well, he's feeling I'm not interested in him. Well, is he even showing you real interest? Because sometimes guys will be doing that just to get you to be the one chasing them. But as long as you stick to the game plan here, what you're trying to do will work on men who have genuine interest in you, because it's not like they won't feel your interest. They just won't feel it over text, and they won't feel it when you guys aren't together in person, which is good. I don't need guys or want guys to be feeling like you're overly invested when they haven't even done anything for you. So if that guy has kind of fizzled out because you're not, texting him 24/7 or making him feel like you're madly in love with him before he actually does anything for you, then so be it. I don't want you to chase that guy, okay? Someone says, why do some guys like being chased? Because it's easy. Why would he not like being able to sit back, relax, and have you do all the work, all the pursuing, all the chasing, that you're going to cook it for him, clean for him, scrub the floor for him, suck his D, do whatever he wants, eat his butthole, and he does nothing for you? Why would a guy not enjoy that? Doing nothing, giving nothing, and receiving everything. Why would he not enjoy that? So this is your needing advice part 2. Hello, Barry Lana says, hello, it's me again. Thank you for your response. The guy who asked me a lot of questions on a date and didn't reach out, he did eventually the day after I sent my question. So since that day, we've been texting every day, but I'm trying to reply to him less. We still haven't set up a second date, and I'd rather talk in person. No problem with that. Interestingly, he said that we texted before on a dating app, but I had no memory of it all. Unfortunately, I had deleted all my chats, so I had no way to verify it. Perfectly fine. I don't even want you presenting yourself as someone who's available on dating apps anyways. Keep your quality up. Okay? I didn't remember his face or what we could have talked about. But wait, what? He even remembered my Instagram username. What? Okay. After that dinner, it kept bothering me, so I wanted to check if I had any chats, screenshots, or anything. I found one screenshot from August and one from November. We matched twice, but didn't text for long. What do you mean you found a screenshot? Do you screenshot everyone that you match or chat with? It's kind of strange. For long, which is probably why I don't remember. But in one of the screenshots, there's a message from him where he said he was a walking red flag, and I asked why. In the first screenshot, this is him saying, why do you say, what do you say to such beautiful girls? Me, I don't know what others say, but for me, something creative. Him, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? Okay. I don't want to cringe here. This is him saying, I'm a walking red flag. And then you ask why. He said, I'm missing a moral backbone. That's very specific. Give an example. I did a substance off my friend's yitties, but he doesn't actually pay her, because she's in love with him. We met at our mutual friend's wedding. What? Where I was with another girl. This is one of the first stories he was telling you. This is one of the first stories he told you on a dating app, and you actually continued. Did you continue to chat with him after that? And then you said, and what makes you proud of that? You actually responded after that. Wow. Do you think a big percentage of the population has had the chance to experience something like this? Is that supposed to be like a life-changing experience? Okay. So then you say quite a lot. There are no rules in this world. So to me, I don't know this guy, obviously, But to me, it sounds like this guy, his favorite movie is The Wolf of Wall Street. Okay. For those of you who don't know the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, I'll explain it to you in its most basic form. It's men who are on Wall Street, they're getting rich, and as they get rich, they do a bunch of drugs, they sleep with a bunch of women, and they're just wild and super crazy while they make lots of money. Okay. But their lives get effed up crazily. Now, here's the thing. If this is like, oh my God, life-changing experience. Oh my God, I'm really living life when I'm doing stuff like this, doing, substances off of a girl's yitties, at a wedding when I brought another girl. Like these are the type of guys, their version of interesting when it comes to life is like chaos. Like they don't feel alive unless chaos is happening around them and in their life. And I just don't think that this is sustainable for any sort of serious relationship. If I was your dad, if I was your brother, if I was your best friend, I would tell you stay far, far away from guys like this. Because even if you were a perfect, amazing girl, he would not like you simply because you don't provide him with enough chaos for it to be interesting for him. If this is the only way he gets his rocks off, having this amount of chaos in his personal life, nothing you're going to say or do for him will make him have, it's like almost like he's an adrenaline junkie, right? He needs a kick of adrenaline, probably because he has very little going on in his career. What I find is that most guys who don't have enough excitement in their career look for excitement in these type of ways, right? If you have a lot of stuff going on, you're making business deals, you're doing this, you're going back and forth, like you have a lot of stuff going on in your career life, your professional life, you don't need this level of stimulus. This is actually a distraction, right? So I would advise you to stay away from men like this because they're unpleasable. They just want chaos. On the date, he was really sweet. I'm sure he was. They all start off that way. And seemed shy. Probably isn't as shy as you're imagining, right? So finding these messages really surprised me. Do you have any advice on how I should handle this to see his true intentions and real personality? I want to play the player low key. My advice to you would be actually just to not talk to this guy. Because like I said, there's no pleasing a guy with this type of mind state, right? And I know like this was a while ago when you met him on the dating app, but for him to confess this to you on the dating app before you guys ever met means that this is not his craziest story, right? It might sound like a crazy story, but I promise you, majority of people are not going to tell you their deepest, darkest secrets before you ever meet them. So I say all that to say you haven't learned even 1/10 of what he's actually done in his life. So we're already starting off chaotic. You can only imagine how much more chaotic it can get from here. And like I said earlier, men like this that are living for chaos and are like a dopamine, like Jazz said, a dopamine and adrenaline junkie, there is no pleasing them. There's no freaky level that you can get to that's going to please him. There's no amount of chaos that like you can do or whatever the case may be that's going to please him because he's always looking for the next hit by making things more crazier and more chaotic, right? And you're only one woman. You can't be 35 women, right? I wouldn't even talk to him after this. I would just, I know you had a great date, but I would just leave it, right? You already have the evidence you need that no point wasting your time, in my estimation. Let's go on to our next question here. This one comes from, how do you pronounce this name? We'll just call it Philo. Okay, we'll call you Philo. Did I mess up already? Part 1. Excuse me. Hey, Tomisin, I've been watching your content for about a month now, and I really appreciate your insights. They've been reassuring and helpful. I'm a 36-year-old woman, and I recently started dating a 33-year-old man. We met about 2.5 months ago. And we became exclusive a month ago. During that month and a half of courting, we were going on 1 date a week, and he was very intentional, planning thoughtful dates based on things I'd shared. Now that we're exclusive, we see each other 2 to 3 times a week. And he still puts in efforts into planning meaningful dates. He never asked me, what do you want to do? Or suggested that we just Netflix and chill. I do have a question for you. Have you met any of his family or friends at this point? Yep, you're his girlfriend already. But have you met any family members or any friends of his at all? We talk on the phone every night, but it's usually a brief check-ins about our day. We don't text much outside of planning logistics or for him to tell me he misses me or is thinking of me. We recently started FaceTiming on our lunch breaks. This has been the natural flow, but after listening to you, I've tried to be more intentional about not giving him too much time too soon because if left to him, I think he'd want to see me every day. No, we can't have that. We had pineapples for the first time on Valentine's Day, and the next day, the next day he asked me to be his girlfriend. So I have the same question for you. Have you met any of his friends or family yet in this time period? Because I haven't seen you mention that. I was hesitant to agree, but since I had already given in to pineapples and I really like him, I agreed. So, okay, this is my problem when you guys do this. What is the order of operations here? If you have to, okay, I don't want to get mad. You have to become better at being more in touch with the way that you actually feel and not just going with the flow, in the sense of, if you're saying to yourself, truly in my soul and my spirit, I feel hesitant to say yes to sleeping with him, or say yes to being his girlfriend, right? If you truly feel hesitant in that sense, why are you sleeping with him knowing that you're hesitating at the idea of being his girlfriend? Because that shouldn't be the order of operations. You should feel sure about the idea of being his girlfriend, and then when you feel that is when you decide to sleep with him. If you're unsure about the idea of being his girlfriend, then you're definitely not ready to sleep with him. So that order of operations is completely wrong in itself from that beginning. We have a solid friendship, and he doesn't shy away from tough or uncomfortable decisions. He's open about his life plan, seems genuinely authentic, and shows integrity in how he moves through daily life dynamics. He's very chivalrous and kind, doing all the things most women would want. Opening doors, making sure he walks. Wait, what? Oh, he walks the closest to the curb when you guys are walking on the street. One thing I admire is he's focused on becoming a better man, with strengthening his relationship with God as one of his biggest priorities right now. I've met some of his friends and family. Oh, thank you. Thank God. And he has met some of mine. Although neither of us have met each other's parents yet. Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that you weren't dating a man on an island, meaning that you have no understanding or foundation of who he is outside of what he tells you. Only briefly through hellos while on call and things. We also happen to have mutual acquaintances who have told me great things about him, both male and female acquaintances, which match what I've seen so far. I've honestly not seen any red flags. I do make about double his income. Okay, that's a lot. I haven't explicitly told him that, but I assume he could guess. I also humbly would probably be considered more attractive than him, although I find him very attractive. I'm also sapio though. So I think you're referring to being a sapiosexual, which just means like you're more attracted to people's mind and their spirit and their energy than you are their actual looks. I don't hold this against him, but I'm mindful of the differences in finances and perceived attractiveness of how the differences in finances and perceived attractiveness can play out in relationships over the course of time. That said, being with him has been refreshing. However, these things have moved fast. If I'm being honest, not enough time has passed for me to fully know if he's as solid as it seems. I'm sure you'll say the same, but I figured I'd write in anyways. Considering we're both in our 30s and knocking on 40's door with hopes of still having children of my own, I'm hoping I've found a golden goose. But I also don't want to be desperate or overlook important things. He's been open about his past relationships and shared that it's been hard to find genuine women who don't have baby daddy drama, aren't just looking to be taken care of, and actually have goals and aspirations they're working towards. Because of that, he spent the past couple of years focused on improving himself and praying that his discipline and God's will would bring him his wife one day if he stays on the right path. Because we are both working on getting closer to God, I've been thinking about bringing up the idea of abstaining from sex moving forward. These are the things that it's not that I don't like it when you say something like this, but it frustrates me because why get all the good, amazing ideas after the fact? I don't want to get upset at you, because this is not a bad thing to try and work on to build your relationship. But I would have loved for you to implement this from the beginning. This is why I say go into your relationship from the very start, knowing what your end goal is, which is to have a relationship. Never go into a relationship just saying, hey, I'm just here to have fun. Don't ever go into a relationship saying, I'm just here to enjoy myself. Don't even go into a relationship saying, I'm here to figure out what I want, right? Go into the relationship as if that man is going to be your husband. And every step of the way, you're figuring out how you can make sure that the perspective he has of you is in the light that you want to be seen. Because the problem with situations like this is you sleep with him first, and then you get all your good ideas on how to make the bond better or make you feel more comfortable or make the relationship stronger after the fact of sleeping with him. When I wish you would have been doing that or thinking of that beforehand and setting that up so that you don't have to backtrack instead, right? You can just build it from the beginning that way. Because backtracking is very difficult. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how he'd feel about it, but I want to approach it the right way. We plan on starting to go to church together next Sunday. We've also discussed checking in every 6 months to make sure we're still aligned and on board with this being a serious relationship that leads to marriage. He assured me that he has no intentions of not knowing if I'm his wife within the next 2 years. As crazy as that might sound to some, I actually appreciated that because I also have a personal timeline, which I haven't shared with him, but I will not date a man longer than 2 years without proposal. I really like him, but I want to make sure I'm approaching things with the right mindset. I love to hear your perspective on these things. Given that he's been consistent in his actions and words, how can I continue to assess if he's truly serious about me? That only comes with time. There is no fast track to understanding that, right? That consistency only comes over the course of time. What should I be mindful of to make sure I'm maintaining a healthy balance between enjoying the relationship and making a wise long-term decision? What are your thoughts on bringing up abstaining after we've had pineapples? How would you suggest I approach this conversation? Would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks in advance. Okay, so this is probably the biggest question that you need to get answered. Because here's the thing, for you in your situation, if you're going to bring up the idea of not sleeping with him after sleeping with him, you're going to need to come up with a logical, sound reasoning for that. I'm not saying that you owe him sleeping with him, but if you're going to make it make sense, then make it make sense. So what I mean by that is have already in your back pocket the reasoning that you're going to say is why you think that this is the best approach, because you guys have already done it. So you're not saving yourself for anything. But what are you trying to accomplish here if you guys aren't going to be sleeping with each other? What's the reasoning for it? What's your reasoning? And what do you think, how do you think your relationship with him will be better if you guys don't approach it that way? And if you guys don't approach it that way and you're not focusing on sleeping with each other, what are you going to be channeling your energy into instead? Okay. Those should all be part of the conversation that you bring up. Okay. And honestly, within that, after you express that to him, you're going to have to reside yourself to the fact that he could respond one of two ways. Meaning, after you have all of that discussion with him and you tell him your reasoning for it and how you think it'll affect and better your relationship with him, he's either going to respond by saying, I completely agree with you. Let's try it out. I want to work with you. I want to work on this. And it'll work out perfectly. You guys will get married. Or his response will be, I don't know if that's my cup of tea. He might pretend even for a little bit, but then you start to notice him, dwindling away, not as invested, and then the situation kind of fizzles out. Because when you backtrack, and you establish a dynamic and you try and switch it up, it can become a very uncomfortable time for both people. Okay. Like I said, it's not that you owe him sex, but I wish you would have done this and strategized like this beforehand, not trying to think about this afterwards. The other thing that I think you should address here for yourself and for him, what is it that's making you feel slightly uncomfortable here, not making you feel whole? Because, you're saying that he's shown you a lot of the things that you want to see. And let's kind of revisit your timeline here. It's been 2.5 months that you guys met. And you guys became exclusive just a month ago. So obviously, you're on a quite shortened timeline here and you guys are already exclusive. So ask yourself a couple of questions. What is it that is making you uncomfortable about how much you know about him at this point? Do you feel like you don't know enough? Do you feel like you're not sure enough about if this is the real him? Or is it a combination of all of those things? In which case, I think you guys need to have a different discussion. And I think that discussion needs to be about continuing to learn each other and build your relationship with each other in a emotional and spiritual sense. I think the best thing for you to do when bringing this up is, you know how he's trying to grow closer to God? To make the focus that, hey, I want our relationship for both of us, the benefit of both of us, to be more centered around both of our relationships to God and allow him to guide us in the way that would be best for us to have a successful relationship. So what do I mean by that? Let's, like you mentioned, start going to church together. Let's start praying together. Let's start, helping each other, build each other up in our spiritual sense. You can share Bible verses with me. I'll share Bible verses with you and things like that, right? Let's have that be the focus of our relationship and build ourselves up, under God and how he would want it to be. Let that be the focus and the strategy that you go into and say, okay, rather than us channeling all our energy into sleeping with each other, let's channel it into this area so that we're both strengthening our relationship with God, with each other and God at the same time. And then let's see how we feel about each other and see where our bond goes, see how good we feel about each other and about this relationship. I think that approach will come across less like, oh, I'm taking this sex off the table and deal with it. And it'll seem more like, hey, I want us to be successful in our relationship. And I think this will be a great way to do that. And also, it would be awesome if you could bring up, while you say that, things that he's talked about for himself of wanting to get closer to God. And then you can kind of mesh it all together and be like, I actually really agree with that and what you want about getting closer to God. And I want that for myself as well. And I want us to both help each other grow in that. And I think the best way for us to help each other grow into that is to not focus on other things that, aren't as important in terms of growing our relationship with each other. You understand what I'm saying? And I think if you can present it in that way, it should be a lot more palatable. But obviously, you don't necessarily know exactly how he's going to take it. He might take it one of the two ways. But once you do it like that and you present it that way, you leave it up, no pun intended, you leave it to God to deal with it, and he's going to respond how he's going to respond to it. And you're just going to have to work with whichever one scenario or outcome that is from there. Okay. So I think that's the best approach here to your situation. Let's hop into our free section. We're got to answer a lot of questions here. Okay. So let me make sure nothing gets skipped. Yeah, we did that one. Okay. All right. So first one is from LP. No, we did this one. Mark that as red. Okay, this one's from Girly Girl. No, we did that one. All right, wifey tests. Okay, Jessica says, wifey tests. What kind of tests do men try on you to determine if you're a girlfriend or wifey material? I actually had a whole show about this. I missed your live, and I'm really confused on the subtle things he does that I deem as a test, but I'm unsure. Jessica, I would advise you to watch my show, literally titled Every Wife Test that Men Will Use on You, to basically determine if you're wifey material. So a lot of them, I can't remember everything that I put down in my wifey test show, but those consist of things like seeing how palatable you are, how easily you will change or adjust your boundaries, how much you're willing to sacrifice for him without doing anything for you, how much you're willing to stand on business. A lot of it is about boundaries and your own desire to have respect for yourself, and not even just for self-respect in the sense of how he treats you or your relationship with him, but also the level of self-respect you have in your friendships and with other people. Do you allow other people to walk all over you? Do you allow other people to come in and out of your life as they please? Do you allow other people to mistreat you and are just okay with that? Those are all part of wife tests, right? Are you good at setting boundaries for yourself, your friendships, and your family members? Are you good at being a woman of your word as well? When you say you're going to do something or you say you want something for yourself, do you stick to that, or do you just talk about stuff and not actually do anything about it, right? All of your intangible stuffs is the wifey test, because making a woman a wife is a lot more than just, is she an attractive woman? It's also, can she nurture? Can she take care of a house? Can she be a great mother? Does she have a desire to be a great mother, or is she interested in going out and just being a hot girl? Being a hot girl is cool and all, but it's not really conducive to a successful long-term relationship. So those are the kind of tests that men will take you through, but I describe it more in detail in that show. It's called Every Wife. Just type in Every Wife Test and type in Tomisin, and you'll see the show that I'm referring to, okay? All right, let's go into our next one. Our next question comes from Mrs. LP Baby. This one is titled Tommy and Friends Project Runway, okay? Hi, Tommy. Thank you and all you lovely ladies for the fashion tips. Y'all big homies for real. I finally get it. No flare leggings. I know you all don't want me looking hella goofy. Let me know your thoughts. I want something that says I could be his personal thought, but I also am respectable and classy around his mom, younger brothers, and boys. The aesthetic I'm going for is something that says I'm not a whore, but I'm not a virgin either. Kindly advise. Thank you. I love and appreciate your community. Hugs. See outfit pics below. Okay. So we're picking outfits here and styles here. This show takes on many different versions here. Okay, chat. Let's have a rating. Let me know, chat. All right. So we have outfit number 1. This is number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 different options here. Okay, I'm going to give you my personal opinion if you want what I think would be best. Let me look through these here. Chat, what do you think here is the best one? Okay, someone said 2 is boring as F. So you want to be seductive. You don't want to give off virgin vibes, but you also don't want to look like out there person. Okay, actually, it's a birthday party. Okay. Sorry, I'm actually thinking about this, being honest. I don't know what the weather is like where you're at. But this could be appropriate if it's warm where you're at. This could be a vibe. Also, I like this actually. I actually, if I'm thinking about it, let me see here. I like these. This is not bad. No, I'm not a fan of that. This and this is my favorite simply because you cannot really go wrong with these in the sense that like you can still look good, still have a nice vibe, not to give the wrong impression. And I don't think whether or not, so here's the thing, whether or not his mom is like really conservative or really like, oh, whatever out there, whatever the case may be, I don't think with either of these, you would be offending anyone. But I still think you'd be able to come in, look good, look feminine, look like a vibe without necessarily, being too out there. I'm not rolling with this. This is not bad. Although, depending on where you're at and what the weather is like, I don't know. Someone says, you said warm weather, 68 degrees. I don't think 68 degrees is warm enough for this, though. I don't think 68 degrees is this type of weather, though. So I would probably eliminate this. No, I don't think this will be the look. I don't think this will be it. This makes it look too much. No, I wouldn't go with this either. This makes this is a little bit of a younger. This is not a no. This is not bad, although there's a lot of cleavage. It's a little bit much. It's a little bit much. I don't want that to be the first impression. We want to feel things out first. This is not bad, although this I'm very particular, chat. So this kind of bothers me. I don't like the shoulders on this, and yeah, this is not. I don't think that this is the look. I don't think that that's it. That top doesn't scream for me. This is not horrible, although this kind of bothers me here. I want for the first meeting. Okay. I'm trying to say this in a way that will make sense. You're meeting the mom for the first time. I'm not saying don't dress how you would regularly dress, but I think playing it safer would be more ideal than doing something too out there that could possibly, have people have the wrong perspective of you. I think that once you play it safe for the first initial meeting, I think it would be, then you can start to try things after you play it safe the first time, because then at least you don't you don't want to be polarizing. Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't want to be a figure of polarization when meeting the mom, because yeah, she might love the way you dress if you're polarizing, but then she also might really dislike it. So we want to kind of figure out something that's more safer for any sort of taste, if that makes any sense. I do think that the jeans and the shirt here, like the kind of blouse shirt, is probably the best vibe. You can do many different things with this. Like, it doesn't have to be this loose like this. If you want, you can wear something a little bit more fitted in the shirt area or the blouse area, like she did here. You can tuck it in and it can hug your figure here. You can wear a nice belt with it, wear some nice heels, get you some nice jewelry going on. And I think you'll have a really good vibe that's safe enough for any situation, no matter what his mom is like. You understand what I'm saying? Then after you get a feeling with the mom, you meet her, she sees you're cool and all that, then you can start trying some different stuff. But I don't want your first outfit to be something where she's like, oh, that's who you're dating, right? It doesn't need to be polarizing, okay? You said you are 5'2", 115 pounds, wide hips and a butt, no yitties. Yeah, so I think this would be a safe bet, right? Something that will complement your figure. You wear, probably something tighter around the hips. Please, no mom jeans, please. I beg you. That's not I don't know where that look came from in 2025. Please, no mom jeans. I'm begging you. Not for the meeting, the mom. No mom jeans. Wear something that's a little bit fitted. It can be boot cut. It can be straight. Like, no mom jeans, please. And just, you have a nice figure, let it hug your figure. You can look nice and feminine and also still look like, you have some sense. It can be a nice combination of both, right? You said, what are mom jeans? It's like a new look that the kids are loving these days, where you wear the jeans so baggy, it's basically like sweatpants, like super baggy. It's ridiculous. To me, it's ridiculous. I'm not a fan of that, but to each his own. If you're asking for my advice, that's my advice. Oh, there was more fits here. There's a lot. You get the gist. I think those two were the best ones. This is nice also, actually. I like this also. Yeah, those two are the best ones. I think that would be a safe bet. All right, let's hop into our next question here. Okay. This one's from LP Baby as well, so we'll save that one. This one's from Sleepy Hollow. There's a rapper named Sleepy Hollow. That's funny. Okay, so Sleepy Hollow says, too close for comfort. Oh, this is probably going to be about sex. Oh, my God. Hi, Tomisin. I enjoy your videos, advice, and jokes. Let's get right into it. I am a sports mom, and all of my kids play sports. There's a parent on one of my kids' teams that may be interested in me. I've been going back and forth, so tell me your thoughts. For starters, I've never seen him in a romantic light at all. He wasn't my usual type. One night, I had a dream. What? He was there, and we were standing off to the side of an event having a conversation. Did he have clothes on in your dream? At this point, we never conversed in real life. He was telling me how beautiful everyone looked there, but intuitively in the dream, I knew he was talking about me. For my dreamers, if you know, you know. Fast forward to the real world, we, a couple of weeks later, have an end of the year party for the team. At the party, after making my rounds to everyone, congratulating them on a successful season and how their children did, I stopped to congratulate him. We conversed on the season briefly. Once the conversation was over, he mentioned how comfortable my clothes looked. Yeah? Your clothes looked real comfortable? How comfortable? That he wants to be in them? 'Twas cold, so I was dressed warm, but cute. I laughed it off. Then he made a comment on a novel that I'm currently writing and said he'd have to grab a copy or 3. I'm sure he does want to grab a copy. I smiled and told him that would be great. He then asked, was the novel spicy? He wants to know if you're writing smut. All right. He then asked if the novel was spicy. I laughed and said jokingly, don't read it around your kids. Before embracing him quickly, what do you mean embracing him? First time ever doing so, saying goodbye and leaving the function. Where the function? Sorry. Fast forward, we are both at a birthday party dinner for one of the children on the team. Yeah, using the kids, huh? Using the kids for the meetup. I embrace all the parents on arrival, him included. We are seated separately, but are thrust together once one of the children wanted to swap seats near their teammate. Yeah, it's the children, right? I figured it was a coincidence and pretended not to notice. Throughout this time, he's engaging me in personal conversation regarding my vegan diet and my novel. He wanted to know my favorite restaurants and recommended some nice vegan spots I'd never tried. I wonder why he's recommending them. We talked more throughout the night. He seemed to really enjoy our conversation throughout the night. Once the night concludes, I embrace everyone. Oh, you love this embrace. As we're leaving, except him. What? I'm a little confused at this point. Didn't want to further confuse things. What? But that's confusing what you're doing. What? Why? Wait, what? Oh, wait. Let me read this again. Once the night concludes, I embrace everyone as we're leaving, except him. I'm a little confused at this point. Didn't want to further confuse things. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? We see each other again at a formal gathering a couple of weeks later where everyone is dressed to the nines. I look gorgeous, as everyone around me kept saying. I felt his eyes on me the entire night, or was it my imagination? Our gathering transitions to a dinner. I arrived late and sat across from him. He does the same thing, once again, engaging me in conversation regarding recent events. The setting isn't as private as the prior setting, so the conversation doesn't seem as intimate. Here's the twist. His child's mother frequently attends the games. His child's mother frequently attends the games, and after events, they co-parent very well, so this is to be expected. What is different is me and her were never close, just cordial. More recently, she has been conversing with me more, sitting beside me. Okay, I see what's going on. And engaging in conversation. She's never done this. She has what we call woman intuition. I'll explain in a bit. She even called us friends at the most recent dinner party. You're not actually friends. I'll just make that very clear to you. I'm not quite sure what to make of. You guys aren't friends. Not even in the slightest. I'll explain to you what's going on. Is he into me? Does she see it? Is it all in my head? Is potentially dating a parent of your child's sports teams too close for comfort? Update. He has made it known that he does indeed have interest in me. We haven't gone further than having that confirming conversation. I was taken aback. So you really? So I don't know where to go next. You don't need to go anywhere. So I'm letting him lead. Exactly. So the questions above apply even more now that I have confirmation of his interest. I am on the fence. I feel like it's far too close. But am I blocking my blessing? Here's the thing, Sleepy Hollow. So let me address his mother of his child. 100% she's not your friend. Okay, so also let me address something you might make a mistake of, possibly. That woman is not your friend. Do not share with her any sensitive information about how you feel about this guy at all. Don't even share sensitive information about yourself to this girl. What this woman is, I'm just telling you the truth. Like I know how human beings are, okay? And I live in a real world. So in my real world, I know that people don't do things for no reason, and they're not as nice as they seem. What I mean by that is she's not making friends with you to actually be your friend. She's making friends with you to, one, get intel on you, okay, that she's going to use to talk down on you to him. And number two, she wants to be close to the woman she sees her, father of her child warming up to. There's a thing that happens when you start dating a man after a while and you start understanding how he thinks and what he's attracted to. You begin to know what his type is as a woman, right? When you're with a man for long enough. So when literally there comes a point where women could walk into a room, like a big group of women. I'm talking like 30, 40, 50 women. And you will know exactly which woman he is most interested in as soon as they walk into the room. right? Because you just have like it's like an intuition, I'm telling you. It's like a superpower. You just have like a tick in your mind where you know exactly what he finds attractive and the type of features he finds attractive, that you'll be able to pick out immediately the top 2 to 3 women that he likes the most at any time. So I say all that to say this is happening right now. He's able to, that woman, the mother of his child, is able to sense that you're that woman, right? That he's taking a liking to, he's taking an interest in, that's his type, right? She knows that. So what she's attempting to do is to try and get in between this by, first of all, getting more intel on you, but also trying to see, if she can kind of put a wedge in between you guys, or get more information about him and how far this is going, whether you guys are dating, what's going on in your life, or whatever the case may be. So don't fall for the trap where she'll try to make you seem like you guys are besties. Oh, we're besties. We're so you're not besties. Okay. What she's going to do, she's going to ask you a lot of questions about your love life. She's going to ask you a lot of questions about what you're doing in your spare time. She's going to ask you a lot of, to tell you a lot of embarrassing stories about yourself. She's going to take all those stories and she's going to go and tell that guy while, because they're obviously going to have chats while they're, taking care of their kid. When she brings you up, she's going to tell him all of your embarrassing stories to make you look bad, hoping that it will dwindle his attraction towards her. I'm telling you the truth. I've seen it happen so many times. So I'm just saying that to say, please don't make the mistake of thinking that girl's actually your friend and start giving her sensitive information. Don't tell her nothing. Make everything vague. And if you do tell her stuff that makes you look amazing. If she tries to help you confide in her about anything, nothing. I don't give a damn what you're going through. Don't cry to her. Don't text her about nothing going on. Nothing. Okay? Avoid that at all costs. The other thing as it relates to him is, you're right. Let him lead. Let him take control of this situation, and let him decide when he wants to date you and how he wants to date you. Okay? But we do need to be keeping an eye on this baby mother. The reason I keep bringing it up is because I know if she's doing this now, she's going to be a problem. Okay? I mean, like, she's going to be a problem from the standpoint of, if you actually are going to be with this guy, you're going to have to understand your biggest op is her. Let's be so for real. Let's not play a game. Your biggest op is her. So if you're going to date him, you got to be on guard of what you're saying and doing at all times. And especially that you're not showing her anything that she can report back to him. Because what she's looking to do is sabotage you the possibility of him dating you or pursuing you. Because you think she wants that? You think she wants to look at you every day and see you taking care of her and being with her and courting her while she, sits on the sidelines and gets neglected, right? And doesn't get that attention. Girls want attention. So, hey, you get catty very fast. My advice to you, let him lead. But also, don't be showing his mother of his child anything that she can use against you. And also, don't be in a position where you now feel the pressure to pursue him or do anything for him, because you now know that he likes you. Let him decide when he's ready to push or progress things forward, and don't do anything outside of that. I know I'm just saying do nothing, but those are the things to be looking out for in your situation and why, okay? Let's go on to our next question. Someone said that I skipped theirs. I think there was someone named Anna that said I skipped theirs, but I don't see anyone called Anna that I skipped here. I think I did all of these, right? If I skipped any of it, just remind me after the show. Wait, did I skip this? Oh, I think is this the one I skipped? Yeah, I think I skipped that one. Okay, yeah. So marriage, I'm gonna make sure I skipped this one. Yeah, I did. Okay, so this one is from Lovely Lisa. Marriage sex advice. Okay, interesting. I was talking to my girlfriends about my marriage, and she has watched your channel and suggested that I ask your advice. Very interesting. This is like Inception here. We're having a lot of Players Club members reach out to their own friends. This is interesting. Very awesome. I don't know if you give advice to married women, but I will let you know my situation. I apologize in advance if my question topic is a little graphic for your show. It's okay. We get deep into it. Trust me, we've had graphic on the show. I'm a 26-year-old woman married to a 28-year-old man. We are both Christian and were virgins until we got married. Okay. I've been blessed to... Why do you guys do this to me? You start off being Christian. Okay. I've been blessed to have the eater and beater combo, if you know what I mean. I know what you mean. We've been married for about 8 months, dated and engaged for 3 years, and he continues to be a complete gentleman and is very sweet. Sure he is. Caring and attentive to all my needs. Ladies, I 100,000% recommend waiting. Also making them get an STD test beforehand no matter what. Well, it's also a way to ensure, you know if he's STD free and then he becomes not STD free, you know for sure he cheated. Before we got married, I made sure to have deep convos with him about sex, expectations, and any kinks as we both believe in talking openly. Oops. And I wanted to put the best foot forward in our marriage. I actually think this is really good. This is really smart because you'll get a very good sense of whether you and a guy are sexually compatible by even just talking about it as long as you ask the right questions. So I think that was very smart on your part. For the most part, we were in agreement on everything and had similar expectations and kinks. He mentioned that he had... Oh. It's this type of question. He mentioned that he had a piss kink, and I just listened without judgment. And as I wanted us to have an honest conversation, so I had no reactions, and he just trusted me to let me know everything. Okay, so I'm going to take a stretch simply because I didn't know it would be this type of question. So let me re-prepare my mind, understanding what's probably going to come. Okay, let me just, because now that I see what you're about to ask, now we need to align our chakras and prepare our minds and bodies and souls for what is to come. Okay, so we're just going to take a little bit of a stretch here. Okay, it's a pre-stretch, right? We want to make sure we're in the right mental state for this, right? I don't want to be too shocked at anything you're about to say next because we're already talking about piss. Okay, I think this is our first piss kink on the show. All right, so I hope anyone who's under 20 years old is gone because we're not going to hold back here. We don't hold back on the show. So if you're under 20, this is not the show for you. I apologize. Go watch Dr. Phil or something. Okay, he's got a piss kink. Okay. Oh boy. But I'm not into it, to be honest. That's trust me, it's not shocking that you're not into it. He said that it's just something he is into and wants to try. Okay, I'm assuming you're probably going to explain this, but when he says piss kink, is he the one doing the pissing or are you? Because that can change a lot of things drastically. Thank goodness he's not into poop. LOL. Yeah, LOL. Since we've been married, he hasn't brought it up again, though. I'm not saying I'm 100% against it, but I'm like 99.9999999% against it. Another reason why I'm hesitant about trying it is I know that I'm his dream girl and he absolutely treats me like a queen. I'm scared that if I let him do this or any other degrading things, it might subconsciously change his views of me. What do you think? Okay, let's have an honest conversation here for a second. It sounds like you're talking about him pissing on you. I hope all the under 20 people are gone. Okay, whenever you have a kink like this that presents itself, one of the really important things to do, you have to ask more questions. What I mean by that is you don't just stop at, oh, you want to piss on me? Cool. Ask him, well, why do you find that hot? What is it about that turns you on? Is there a specific way you want to, I know it sounds weird. Is there a specific way you want to pee on me? Is there a specific environment that you want to pee on me in? Do you want to pee on me with my clothes on, my clothes off? What do you subconsciously even ask him this question? What does it make you feel other than just being turned on? What does it make you feel when you pee on me? Does it make you feel power? Does it make you feel control? Does it make you feel, whatever the case may be? The reason I'm saying that is because you need to study the psychology of the kink, because studying the psychology of the kink will also help you understand two things. One, it'll help you understand what he's even getting from that kink in itself. And number two, it'll help you understand how to maybe compromise on that kink in a way where you can serve the same desire that he's trying to get from doing that thing in a way that is more comfortable to you. So let me give you an example of that. Let's say hypothetically, he's like, I love the idea of pissing on you because when I look down on you and I see my pee all over you, I realize how powerful and how much control I have. Then you can say, okay, well, why do you find control hot? Do you feel like you don't have control in your regular everyday life? Or does it just, you find it really hot to be that controlling or have that much power? Let him describe, let him tell you about some things. You might come across some stories you never heard about. Then we can start to say, okay, so what are some other ways you can feel complete control over me, like a crazy amount of control over me? What if, I got on all fours and sucked you off? I don't know, whatever the case may be. What if I, kissed your feet? Whatever, you know what I mean? And you can start asking him different questions. Oh, would that make you feel that same amount of power and control? What about this one? What about that one? And then you can start exploring something. You don't have to actually do them, but exploring some different ideas that, hey, does that serve that same power and control dynamic that you're looking for or turns you on so much? And in the process of that, you might come across something that you're like, oh, no, I can actually do that. Or even something that you're like, oh, no, that actually kind of turns me on too. But it helps you get that same power that you seem to be really looking for when you're thinking about peeing on me. Okay. So that's why I say to approach that like that. You need to kind of study this, right? I've studied a lot of psychology and I know about the Madonna whore complex. I want him to continue to feel, I shouldn't have even said that, but I want him to continue to feel safe and comfy with me. And I want to try to fulfill all his desires in a woman. That's why I asked him in the first place. But as a man, I'm not sure what you mean. I think you must say, wouldn't men be disappointed or more likely to cheat if you don't do certain things? Like they do need every fantasy? I fully trust him and I don't think he would ever cheat on me. And if he did, he knows I would absolutely leave him. I'm more worried that he might not feel fully satisfied in our marriage. What do you think? Okay, so I know one of your other questions was, should I do it? Will that change the way that he feels about me? My honest answer is, if you're married to him, no. And I'm saying this, chat, we're not going to get too deep into my sex life, but I'm quite freaky, okay? So I say that to say, even in my relationships where I've been quite freaky, I am quite freaky. It's not I am quite freaky. But even in that sense, if I'm with a woman romantically and, I'm degrading her, we're enjoying ourselves, we're having a good time, for me, I can compartmentalize the difference between degrading someone, having a good time, we're in the moment, we're doing our thing that we both enjoy, versus you're still my girl, you're still my wife, you're still my whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So that you can have a discussion about that and get an understanding of that. But I think when you're already his wife, I don't think it actually affects anything. In fact, I actually like the idea of you guys exploring things that he probably would do with women who weren't his wife, simply because then, I know this is going to sound very weird. It's going to sound very weird when I say it, but we're here, so I have to say it. Then you can be like his wife, his mistress, his girlfriend, his side chick, all in one woman. And you guys can role play whichever one you want to be. Some days, I'm telling you, this is a freak, man. Some days you can be the wife and you guys can have your loving, lovey-dovey sex where you guys say I love you to each other all the time. Cool. Some days you can be his side chick where he just F's you like an SLUT. Some days you can be like a one-night stand where it's almost like you guys do a public thing, like he's meeting up with you and then he meets up with you and he just, does you in an alley or something like that. I don't know. And, you can have different, almost like play different sexual roles in his life like this. But the thing about it is, as you're doing that, you're creating an environment where both of you can continue to feel interested and stimulating by trying different things. You're never just only having one type of sex. So one day you might be the side chick. One day you might be the one night stand. One day you might be the girlfriend. One day you might be the wife. One day you might and every day is kind of a little bit different. I think it's interesting for both of you to keep that passion alive where you never just have to do one type of thing and neither of you are like, oh, I'm kind of bored of this. Or either of you are always like, oh, I already know what to expect. I think that that's a good place to be in a marriage where you guys are capable of exploring different parts of your relationship. Because if you can be the side chick, if you can be the one night stand, and you can be the mistress and all that other stuff, then who do you think's not filling those roles? Other women, which I think is personally good, both physically and psychologically. Because I find myself as a freaky person myself, I find that when a woman takes on all of those roles in my mind, I don't even spend any time thinking about exploring other physical relationships, because the vibe I would get from a side chick, from a one night stand, from a whatever type of treatment or type of role play, I do that already. So there's less of a desire for that because I do that already. I have that feeling, or I get that feeling already. So there's not really, it loses a lot of its luster when you're already doing that. You understand what I'm saying? But that's just me. He hasn't made a big deal about this or made it seem like it was super important, but I just want to prevent any issues. Also, I have some questions. So far, our sex life has been amazing. Totally understand why people are obsessed with sex. Yeah, wow. And I think it's mainly because my hubby would do anything to please me. And oh, wow. He really caters to anything I want inside and out of the bedroom. He's not said he's into any other degrading type of stuff, which is good because I don't really like it much. I prefer to be called a good girl and be treated gently. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Maybe you have a praise kink yourself. All right. One thing is I mainly prefer our longer, gentle love sessions versus rougher. Even if it's quickie, I prefer more gentle than rough and hard. Do men usually like it rough more? It depends on the man. It also depends on his experiences and his preferences, right? I can't really speak for him in terms of what he would prefer, but I do know everyone has their different flavors. I think that there will definitely be times where he'll also prefer it to be more gentle and more passionate, maybe. And there'll probably be times where he maybe prefers it more rougher. If I answered your question, I'd be speaking for myself and my preferences, which doesn't represent all men. And I won't tell you my preferences because that's not relevant to the story, okay? Even if it's a quickie, okay, I obviously switch it up ever so often to keep things exciting. But I think I confused him because one time he was trying to make love and I was like, just give it to me, and was being rougher. Nothing wrong with that. I think, okay, let me give you a little bit of advice, okay? This is like, well, we'll get into sex ed here. If you're, whatever mood you're in, try and figure out what code words you're going to use to express that mood. So let me give you an example of that. If you know you're in a loving mood, right? And let's say, okay, I'm getting really deep here. Let's say your version of dirty talk when you're in a loving sex type of mood is, oh my God, I love you so much. I'm so happy you're my husband. I want you to have my babies, blah, 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 blah. That's your type of dirty talk that you guys generally use when you guys are, doing in your lovemaking mood. When you're doing your foreplay, you need to start prefacing the type of mood you're in by speaking that type of dirty talk. We're in sex ed here. Vice versa, if you're in the mood to get effed like an SLUT, you need to start talking that way from the foreplay stage so that he understands when you're talking this way, you want to be effed like an SLUT. You want to be bent over, you want him to spit in your mouth, you want him to choke you, whatever you want, okay? You need to start talking that way so that he understands, okay, we're in this mode here. This is what you're looking for. And this can be one of those post-game conferences that you have with him that you can even chat with him about, no, when I start saying I want you to, F me like this, like an SLUT, when I start saying I want you to spit in my mouth, when I start saying this and that, I want this type of, sex. Vice versa, when I start saying this, I want this type of sex. I'm saying that because I've used that in my own relationships, and it works like wonders. Once you have that conversation beforehand, when you get in the moment, it's very easy to pick up on, okay, we're doing this one today, right? This vibe is the one that we're having right now. And instead of you guys having to over communicate in the moment, it'll be very obvious which one you guys are doing. And then you just get into that mode, that vibe, right? Then it can become a little bit of an easier bit of communication, instead of like one day it's like, oh, I was looking forward to us making love, and then the other person was like, oh, I was looking forward to effing you like an SLUD. Well, I'm confused now, right? You don't want that to be the case. But then sometimes after this, I went back to wanting soft love. This can even change during this can even change while you guys are doing it. Do you understand what I'm saying? The mood can change while you guys are in the situation, but there has to be a consensus understanding that the mood has changed. Okay, this is advanced stuff, but it's possible. Is there something I should say or do to let him know, or should I tell him my vibe in the moment and leave it up to him to keep adapting to my different wants? Is it okay to keep him confused? No. Not a chance. Do not keep him confused about this. Have a post-game conference, which just means have a talk outside of the actual bedroom about this, about the type of things you'll say or do when you're prompting or desiring to have SLUT sex, versus when you're desiring to have, wifey sex, versus when you're desiring to have whatever the fantasy or the role play or whatever the scenario is, right? Let him and have that discussion with him, and let him have, that discussion with you as well. That way, anytime he hears those key words or trigger words, he immediately knows we're doing this one, right? This is the one that you're looking for at this time. Okay. Because truthfully and honestly, with sex, the men can adapt to either one, and they'll be able to enjoy either one, but it'll be better for both of you if he knows which mood you're in at that time. Okay. How do I keep, up this dream girl fantasy? You don't need to, like, in the sense of sex, you don't need to keep a dream girl fantasy, right? It's more about both of your pleasure at this point, right? Both in and out of the bedroom. I already don't let him in the bathroom when I'm using it, and always dress nicely. This is not really doing as much as you think it's doing. I get it. You probably don't want to poop or pee in front of your man. I understand it, but you're married to him now. Obviously you want him to still see you as sexy, but you're a real human being, at the end of the day. So just take that for what it is. Is there anything else you would suggest to keep his fantasy of him in my, I think you might say me in his mind, and keep him always pursuing me? I would probably say right now, the most important thing you want to be focused on is creating sustainable elements to your marriage. And I think having a sustainable marriage is also about having sex in a sustainable way where both people are feeling genuinely pleasured and satisfied. So I don't think that his perspective of you will be as changed as you're imagining if he pees on you, if he truly enjoys that much. Now, also get an understanding of why he wants to pee on you and what he's getting from that, to better understand what it's even doing for him. That will tell you a lot as well. I mostly let him initiate because I like when he's dominant and prefer him to initiate, but will it put me in a masculine energy to be dominant every now and then? No, see, you're married, so it's a little bit different, right? You do want to be able to have switch ups. So what I mean by that is you don't want sex to only be from when he initiates in a particular way. You want there to be a little bit of like we don't even know how it's going to start this time type of vibe. And also, I'll be honest with you, in a marriage, like, guys do also want to feel like you want it. Like guys also want to feel like you have a desire for him. It's, I mean, maybe I'm speaking for myself here, but it is hot when a girl can express a desire for you, like she's horned up herself and she's like, yo, I need that pee-pee. Give me that thing. I need it right now. When girls can express that to you as a man, like you guys are married now, that's also hot in itself. And that can take on its own version of like you guys have a different type of sex where maybe you're doing a little bit more of the leading, or you're doing a little bit more of the like, hey, I need that thing from you. I'm going to do some things to you. it's a nice little switch up. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I'm saying about making it sustainable, because when you guys can have different moods, different versions of role play, different types of dirty talk, it never feels like the same thing all the time. It can start to feel like the same thing all the time if it gets initiated the same way all the time. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I do love a good dominatrix moment here and there, but I don't know. I think you might say, I don't know, I don't want to come off masculine. You said, I don't want to come off masculine or stop him from craving me in the future. This isn't a problem. I just don't want it to ever become a problem. It won't, as long as you continue to establish that majority of the time he's initiating, and the you initiating will be like, you know, like a nice little switch up. And this is the thing too, like expressing yourself is also good, because sometimes he might want it, but not think that you want it. And so he's not expressing it because he doesn't think you want it. So just be in mind about that, right? How can I get him to try more things? Okay. And be even more confident in bed. You don't think that he's confident already? You don't think he's trying a lot already? He wants to pee on you. I love that he's such a gentleman and that he's dominant, and I want to explore that even more. So then have some post-game conferences with him. Are you guys still talking and exploring your sexual life, or are you only doing it, right? Sometimes when you start doing it, you forget to talk about it. So I would advise you have more post-game press conferences, meaning after you have sex, tell him about the things you really liked about that last session or a previous couple of sessions that maybe you either want to do again, or even some things that weren't working for you. Or see, this is another great thing that you can do, right? You can say, passing off things as dreams is great. You can say, I've been having this dream that, you know, we're at the gym and you're like training me, and you like put your hands on my ass when I'm squatting. And then after a while you take me to the bathroom or the change room, and you have sex with me in the change room. I keep on having this dream. It's not me. It's the dream. Right? And see, these are the type of things where if you start to have different things that you want to explore, you can pass them off as daydreams or fantasies or whatever the case may be, and just allow them to kind of like take shape. Like let him do a little bit of the leading, like, oh, so you want us to go to the gym together? You want us to work out together? You want us to, all of my examples have been in the gym today. What's going on? But you get my point, right? I want him to initiate certain things like using ice or certain moves like I've seen in 50 Shades of Grey in movies, LOL. So then talk about it. Like, you're married to this man. You have to get good at also expressing some of the things that you find interesting or turn you on. Like, I know it sounds very straightforward, but he can't know that you want him to put ice on your body like Christian Grey if you don't tell him that that's something that you even find interesting, right? You can, and you don't even have to directly say, hey, put ice on my body like Christian Grey. You can just be like, have you ever seen 50 Shades of Grey? I think it's so hot when he puts ice all over her body. I've always wanted to try that. You could just talk about things you've always wanted to try. I've always wanted to try having sex in an alley. I've always wanted to try putting whipped cream on someone's pee-pee. I've always wanted to try it. There you go. That's enough to start exploring the topic, right? But it was before I knew him. But how do I bring this up / suggest it? Watch the movies together. That's an easy way right there. It'll start conversation. How can I get him to buy or do certain things? You're freaky. You are freaked out. You're freaky. Or do certain things for me. I'm not passing these allegations of my chat is full of a bunch of freaks. These allegations are going to stick to me like glue. Or do certain things for me. Can I ask for what I want right after? Wait, what? How can I get him to buy or do certain things for me? Can I ask what I want right after in bed without it being seen as manipulative? What do you mean ask for what you want? He's usually really good about doing / buying whatever I want. Oh, you mean like in general? But I just want to know the best time to ask, during the day or during the night. I already make sure to not ask stuff until after he's eaten. Oh, but anything else? I think the after he's eaten is probably the best time. Now, let's say he eats and he gets really horny after he eats, and you guys generally have sex after he eats. Then I'd probably say right in between him eating and being horny to have sex, that would probably be the best time to implant an idea or ask him of something that you want from him, because then your seduction is at its highest and he's also the most palatable in terms of like being able to be molded for whatever it is that you need or want or desire, if that makes any sense. So that right in between, because after sex, he'll be really tired and he won't even really remember anything he committed himself to. I think he'll be conscious enough beforehand, but still, have all of that energy built up that he's like, oh, I just want to give you whatever you want in that type of mode. I already make sure not to ask him anything. Number 6, I've heard once on TikTok that men will put any part of your body in their mouth if they're truly in love with you. Do you agree? I want to say yes, but it really depends on the guy, right? Because some guys, no matter how much they love a woman, they're not going to want to put her foot in their mouth if they're just not into foot. If they're just not into feet. Now, if the guy's really freaky, really nasty, then yeah, obviously it's not going to matter what you put in his mouth. I'm about to pop a piggy in his mouth just to see how he reacts. It depends. If he's disgusted by feet, this is not going to work, right? If he's not, and you have pretty feet, maybe it'll work, right? That's the other thing. How good looking are your feet, right? You pop a foot into that man's mouth and your feet look nasty, not going to work. He hasn't ever said he's into feet, but I just want to try. Are most men really into butt stuff? Absolutely not. Me personally, I don't like butt stuff. And, I have some friends that are into it, but I also have some friends that are not into it. I'm not interested in butt stuff whatsoever. I don't get any enjoyment out of that because it puts a woman in me. Okay, I'm going to speak for myself. Me personally, I can't enjoy butt stuff because the woman is in so much pain. I'm not even going to enjoy that. I'm just looking at her literally in extraordinary pain, and it's just there's no enjoyability factor for me when I'm seeing her in that much pain, forcing it. It just doesn't make any sense for me, because I wouldn't even be able to at that point. I'm gonna be getting soft because it's not even I'm not even seeing like the type of pain where it's like, oh, it's pain but I'm enjoying it. It's just pure pain. So like there's no enjoyability factor for me there. So I'm sure there's other men in my boat there's actually a lot of men in my boat that they're just not into butt stuff. It doesn't make much sense for me. The same thing can be accomplished inside of the hole that has a lot more lubrication. I just don't get the point. He hasn't mentioned being into it other than grabbing and smacking my butt often. Here's the other thing. I know some of you say that guys are into butt stuff because it's tighter. Okay, I don't know if I should say this. Trying to think of how to say this. My concern is why is the guy always facing a scenario in which why is the guy always facing a scenario in which your most common hole, the hole you used to pee from, why is that so loose to him all the time with every woman that he needs the butt to actually get something that's tight enough? If you guys know what I mean. Because for me, there's lots of squirtles. There's lots of anatomies that work perfectly fine for me in terms of tightness. So if you guys get my drift of what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying. It shouldn't be a problem if he's, has the right amount of size going on here. If he doesn't, then obviously it'll be a bit of an issue. That's the other thing with butt stuff that I think a lot of guys are facing an issue of, but whatever. But anytime I look into spicy things to do, everything keeps saying it. Wait, what? Everything keeps saying it. So are men, men don't love it as much as you think they are. Are men really into butt stuff like that? They're not into it as much as you think they are. It's a weird. The men that are the most vocal about it make it seem like all men want it. It's not true at all. Not true at all. Is it true that men stare at your butthole during doggy? I mean, what else are they going to look at? They can't look at your face, right? So what else are they going to look at? They're not going to stare at it though. I don't stare at nobody's butthole. They might put their finger in it though. Depends on the vibe. If so, that makes me insecure about my butthole. Do you shave it? Do you take care of it? If so, perfectly fine. I don't see a problem. Okay. Are there any soul snatching techniques you suggest? Not on. We can't go that deep on this show. Okay. I can't give you guys this soul snatch. But I will say, in terms of good sex, dirty talk will take you a long way. Especially if you can in your dirty talk find what he finds the hottest to talk about. Oh, both of you should find it hot to talk about. But that can also stimulate his mind and really get him going as well. So never underestimate the power of good dirty talk if you're when we're talking about sex here. I already make my husband look into my eyes and say my name anytime he comes. Oh, you trying to grab his soul for real. That's good. That's good. If you can yeah, that's good. You're doing a joke. Good job. Again, I'm really into psychology and I want him to continue to be obsessed with me. You're on the right track because I do things like that as well, right? Look you in the eyes, say your name, say thank you. Anyways, are there any other soul snatching techniques you would suggest as a man? I can't say them on this show. Too graphic. I honestly can't. Let's see. Oh, that was it. Yeah. So I can't say the other techniques here is too graphic. I can't get so graphic on the show. That would maybe be for some sort of a like private show that we do. But yes, I think you're doing a great job. I think right now you guys are exploring a lot. Get an understanding of the psychology of why he wants to piss on you. Have real honest, like real conversation about that. Like lay it all down. Let him be real with you about that, and then go from there in your understanding of how you can maybe address that in a way that works for both of you. I see someone saying that I skipped a premium question. I don't think I did. Okay. Oh, these are from 47 minutes ago. Skip the post in the free section. Okay, so these are people saying skip the post in the free section. Okay. I'll make sure to get back to these and mark them as well in the free section. Okay. Thank you all. All right. That's the show for today. For those of you who have a question for me, whether it be in our free section, our premium section, or our private relationship advice forum, you can ask me a question in any one of those three ways, and I will answer it for you on our next show or in subsequent shows after that. Okay. I'm here every Monday and Thursday. So if you guys want to find me live again, I'm going to be live again next week on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is Tomisin_Tub. It's at the top left corner of the screen if you're watching on TikTok. It's also in my description if you're watching on YouTube. For those of you who are wanting to rewatch the show, if you're watching this from TikTok, just go to my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Tomisin, Tomisin. Then when you get into my YouTube channel, go into the live section. You'll see this live stream and all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time. And you'll have the YouTube and TikTok chat embedded in the video so you won't miss a second of conversation that we have on the show. Like I said, I'm here Monday and Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to see you again live on Monday. But even throughout that time, I'm going to be posting on my YouTube channel all the edits and stuff like that from all the shows that we did. So I bid you adieu until Monday. Hasta la vista, sayonara, adios, ciao, salam, arrivederci, baoni. I think I said them all. Ciao. I said that one. Bon voyage. And I'll see you again on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you so much. So much.